Hi.
We're here!
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, my God.
Sorry.
We're here.
Sorry, fellas and ladies and non-binary pals. I'm going to blow out the microphone.
Yeah, wow.
Wrestling.
We watched a wrestling recently, and it was a pretty good wrestling.
It was a very good wrestling.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. So we figured we should talk to you about the wrestling.
I watched it twice.
Dang.
Yeah.
Nice. We're a couple weeks out from it now at time of recording. But the AEW only does 4 pay-per-views a year, so it's
great.
We're fine. Yeah. Oh, it's
Isn't
so
it
awesome.
Yeah.
WWE had a pay-per-view since,
Yes.
and I think they're going to have another one before this episode goes up.
Yes.
And it's like, that's too much.
It's too many pay-per-views.
It's too many.
How do you feel?
Can't do
I
it.
mean, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Been a while.
Since
Oh, hi, I'm Graham, and this is Adam, and Beej is on tech, and this is Sidewalk Slam, the show where we talk about professional wrestling from the perspective of storytelling and production and other things beyond just the in-ring stuff. Though the in-ring stuff is also relevant and entertaining.
it's
good.
great, but I think it's boring to talk about.
Yeah.
You know? It's like,
Oh, an insecurity, neat.
yeah, neat.
Oh, it's a step up insecurity. Ooh.
Yeah, so it's like Tope Suicida, Tope Con Hello, Tope something.
The other ones.
Yeah, there's other Topes. Yeah, I don't know, but man, it is okay. So it's been a while.
Yeah.
Since we've talked about wrestling.
I don't even remember the last episode we did. We didn't even do
Revolution, wasn't it?
Yeah, we didn't even do the Royal Rumble this year.
No, we didn't. I didn't even watch it.
Oh, I did.
Yeah,
It was for a Royal Rumble, which again, this is like the first episode we ever did was a Royal Rumble, and we've done every one since then. And because the Royal Rumble is like my favorite match type, and a Rumble is, even if it's a bad Rumble, it's always entertaining just on the back of being a Royal Rumble.
Yes.
And this year they had the Women's Rumble and the Men's Rumble, and they were just like, they were boring Rumble matches. They were just like, there was a whole the Men's Rumble especially was just a mess of like a bunch of, because they fired so many people, so it was a bunch of like mid to low card jobbers for like the first half of it, and like people I've never heard of.
Yeah.
Like I was watching it remotely with some friends, and people would come in and we'd be like, I don't know who's Madcap Moss.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I don't know who this person is. And there was several people. There was someone from NXT that we just never heard of, and it's like, okay,
NXT
well they're not
got
winning.
revamped, I think, since last time we've.
Yeah.
Like NXT is like, it's like we're just gonna this is kind of a general catch up.
NXT 2.0.
Yes, and they turned it into a 90s kids show. It feels like a little bit.
Graphically, yeah. It's all rainbows and like really bright lighting, and it's like white with rainbow accents. Haven't really been following it, but the current champion is Braun Breaker.
Yes,
who is the son of Rick Steiner.
Yeah.
And for some reason they don't call him Braun Steiner or whatever.
Steiner.
Even though they've acknowledged on camera that he is Rick Steiner's son. His name is Braun Breaker.
I wish they would have called
spelled Brekkeer.
I wish they would have called him Heimer Steiner. That'd be a good name, right?
But he's been
People chanting it.
like he's been okay at least. But like they're doing a lot more like people going back to NXT. Like Apollo Crews just showed up in NXT, and
Dolph Ziggler was there.
Coffee. I mean, why not?
He won the title.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, good for him.
He like won the title and then lost it again. He was like, it was him and Tommaso Ciampa and Braun Breaker in like a 3-way.
Oh, okay. I think Ciampa's on the main roster now.
Yeah, Ciampa's on the main. I haven't watched main roster WWE or outside of like small clips.
No.
In a very long time.
Yeah.
I just have like no interest.
No.
I don't know, man. I was just like, they fire a bunch of people and it just like,
It's
like when SNL changes casts.
Yeah.
Kinda, yeah. When the great NXT Exodus happened,
all these new future performers are terrible.
When there was the great NXT Exodus,
Yeah.
you know, like Adam Cole left, Johnny Gargano left, you know.
Yep. I watched. I did watch WrestleMania. Actually, we watched,
and
it was bad. It was just not interesting at all. So the Becky and Bianca Belair was a great match. Seth Rollins, and I guess we'll have to talk about this briefly.
Oh yeah,
Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
That was an awesome match.
Yeah.
That was a really, really good match, and so much of the rest of it on both nights was just painfully dull. So yeah, Beach looked confused there for a second. Like, wait, Cody Rhodes, isn't he sort of integral to AEW? Yeah, great question, Beach. Thanks for asking.
Glad I could chime in.
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, Cody is back in WWE.
Yeah.
There was a lot of like, is this real? Is this storyline? What's going on with Cody like not re-signing with AEW? There's all kinds of speculation and rumors, and it ultimately just sounds like it came down to like not purely money, but like money as it relates to creative control, which I think is much more relevant for Cody. And they parted ways amicably, and basically he made a deal with WWE that they're treating him amazingly, and it is to their interest to treat him amazingly to show other people currently employed at AEW how well they could be treated if they came back across to WWE. They definitely wouldn't, but they're treating Cody very well.
I didn't think about that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Man.
So he's not.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah. So he's not dashing Cody Rhodes. He's not Stardust. He is Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare. He's got all his own branding. He's got his same theme song. He's got his entrance with the Cody Vader where he rises out of the stage, which they don't do on the weekly shows anymore because it does.
You were telling me
they did it. They did it at Mania because they have the big Mania stage, and so he's smoke and everything, and he rises up out of the stage, and adrenaline in my soul, right? And then on the Raw afterwards, the stage is like practically ground level, so they can't do anything. So they had a box.
Yeah.
They just had a giant box with an elevator in it that they wheeled onto stage with a ramp, like a plank, leaning up to the box, so that he would rise up out of the box and then walk down this plank onto the normal entrance ramp. Except it like didn't work right away. So there's this amazing shot of it's like framed. All the massive LCD screens, and then the bottom of frame is just Cody's head, just neck up at the very bottom of shot, just sitting there looking around like, yeah, I'm cool. Gotta keep looking cool, and then he starts rising
My
up.
bit part in Futurama.
Yeah. So they've dropped the elevator from his like weekly stuff. But honestly, he's been like that match was great. His matches have been great. He's been presented very strongly. Like it eventually he will I'm sure actually get the world title out of this.
Yeah.
Except I was going to say he's been on a tear. Specifically his pectoral tendon.
Yeah.
So he had surgery and he's out of action for like they said 9 months.
Yeah.
Traditionally, people have recovered from this surgery in WWE after like 6 months. So they're saying longer, so that when he comes back for the Rumble,
come back from a pec injury like 4 months or something.
Yeah, it was wild.
Wow,
that was amazing. And he showed
what steroids can do.
And he showed up at the Rumble too.
I'm just kidding. I don't know.
But he had a match with Seth Rollins at Hell in a Cell, and the thing is, it's like once that kind of tear happens, it doesn't actually get like worse.
Yeah.
And so he did this match with Hell in a Cell with a torn pec, and the bruising looked horrific.
Yeah.
He just had this the entire right side of his chest and upper arm was just purple.
Yeah,
and wrestled a Hell in a Cell match with Seth Rollins to a victory.
Apparently it was a banger match too. I haven't watched it.
All his matches. This feud against Seth has been really good.
I mean, Cody's been good for years. I don't know. Why we're all like, wow, that match was great. It's like, yeah. Cody's been spouting off bangers for years.
So
we shouldn't be surprised at this point.
It was a big like secret surprise that he was going to be at Mania, right? Like an open secret, basically, because it was like Seth's going to face an opponent of Mr. McMahon's choosing at WrestleMania. No one knows who it is, except everyone assumes it's going to be Cody, because obviously it would be, and it was great. So,
dude, the pictures of his pec were gnarly. I couldn't watch. I almost couldn't look at the Like, I almost don't want to watch the match because I know it's going to make me uncomfortable.
Just like,
I'm just like,
oh, no,
God,
don't.
please stop. Somebody,
Stop working the bruise.
yeah, there was a lot of like talk. Like, was it safe? He was cleared by doctors.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people are like, what doctor? You know what I mean? Like,
You just
let
know-
me see your certificate.
You just know that, like,
Doctors
Vince,
get a certificate, diploma. Let me see.
you know Vince loved it, though,
Yeah.
right? Like, you know that Vince would have been like, all right, great. You know, old school wrestling mentality, you know, show must go on and all that. And the thing is, Cody probably agrees. Like,
Cody's probably the same, I would
oh,
imagine.
yeah. He's like, no, I got to do it. I got, you know. So it's like, all right.
For the skipper.
Yeah. So then again, I haven't watched this. I've just been sort of keeping up on it. On the next Raw, Rollins comes out and is like, you know, like, hey man, you know what? The better man won. Your dad would be so proud, that kind of thing, and then beats the crap out of him with a chair. It's like,
yeah.
Cody's out for 9 months for this, which is weird. They didn't need an excuse.
No,
they didn't. They didn't need an on-camera excuse for why Cody's going to be away for so many months because they said in truth and in storyline, they were like, he's getting surgery for that. He'll be out for a while. But they decided to also have him get taken out by Seth. So I don't know, whatever.
It almost like worked out better for Cody in the long run, really. Like, he's going to be the biggest babyface on the planet when he comes back. You know?
Yeah. And they also had the other WWE interesting thing was Edge has been starting this faction called Judgment Day.
Yes.
Or the Judgment Day. And it was him and Damian Priest, and then Rhea Ripley joined. And they're all like being like dark and, you know, like the Brood, right? It was like Edge is now Gangrel to Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. And then on Raw, Finn Balor joined, and then Edge got clotheslined by Damian Priest, and they kicked him out of the Judgment Day.
Isn't that weird?
It's very strange.
That's strange, right?
I think it's a combination of they needed, with Cody out, they need another face, and supposedly, this is all rumors, they wanted to take the Judgment Day group in a more spooky supernatural direction, and Edge was like, no, I don't, that's not what I want. And they're like, all right, well, we're going to kick you out of the group then.
Really?
Supposedly.
Huh.
But now that Finn Balor's in charge, maybe they
That's
can,
so weird because
he can
I
be
don't
the
know.
demon.
From what little I've seen of Edge talk outside of wrestling, it seems like he'd be down for that kind of thing, but
Yeah.
spooky. Man, you know who
Anyway.
would have been great for Judgment Day? Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt, yeah.
That's a shame. I wonder what he's up to.
I don't know.
I picture him like, you know, in like a field, you know, fucking picking pumpkins or something.
Yeah.
You know, just chilling, minding his own. Isn't that what Bo Dallas is doing? Bo Dallas is a farmer now.
Probably.
He has a farm.
That's his brother.
He's an organic farm. He's just picking pumpkins and tomatoes and doing his thing, living his best life.
You have to believe.
Gotta do the sideways thumb thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back in AEW,
Yeah.
it's Double or Nothing. This is the 4th annual Double or Nothing. So a little bit of relevance to the history here, of course, is that AEW started with, basically someone, I can't remember who, and you know, it's irrelevant, but someone basically was like, there's no way that Cody and the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega are going to be able to put on a wrestling show and actually sell it out.
Yeah.
And they were like, all right, bet. So they, quite literally, that show was called All In. Because they're like, all right, we're going all in. And they did the show, and it sold out, and it was amazing. And it wasn't just them, obviously. It was a bunch of other people as well. And then after that is when Tony Khan got involved, and Jericho came aboard, and then sort of AEW came together.
Yeah.
And then they got their TV deal lined up. Dynamite was due to start a few weeks after the first Double or Nothing. It hadn't started yet, but then the show was called Double or Nothing because they went all in. They won, so their second pay-per-view was like, all right, Double or Nothing, right? There's the gimmick. It's
Yes, I love gambling.
AEW has 2 distinct gimmicks for their pay-per-views. Again, they've only got 4 of them. They've got 2 of them that are casino themed, which is All In and Double or Nothing, and they've got 2 that are motor themed, which is Full Gear and Revolution.
Yeah.
It's not revolution as in like the communist revolution. It's literally like when a thing goes around once.
Yeah, you know, like sands the hourglass.
Exciting, yeah. So anyway, so this is Double or Nothing. The first Double or Nothing is when Jon Moxley debuted, and that was huge. That was what really helped spark a lot of interest in like, oh, they might actually be a thing here, because he'd left WWE and no one. So people still thought it was, like a storyline until he showed up at Double or Nothing and attacked Kenny Omega, and then it all sort of developed from there. So now we are 4 years on, broadcasting live from the T-Mobile Arena in Paradise, Nevada. This is Double or Nothing 2022. The card on this lad.
Yeah, it's absolutely massive.
Yeah, there are 13 matches, 12 of which are on the main show. So the pre-show, the buy-in,
I didn't watch that.
More casino stuff was. I didn't actually watch it either. It was Hook and Danhausen versus Tony Nese and Smart Mark Sterling.
That's been great. Yeah, I guess we could talk about Danhausen.
Very nice, very evil.
Very nice, very evil. He's like, man, what is he like?
I don't know.
He's not like anything.
No, Danhausen is he's a caricature essentially. Yeah. He wears face paint. He looks like an old-timey movie villain, and he talks like one too. And I mean like from like the black and white era of talkies.
Yes.
He has described his own character as Conan O'Brien possessed by a demon.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, that's
right.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He believes he has supernatural powers.
Yes. He curses people.
Oh my God.
He does a lot of like,
And people sell it. They're so good, man. He cursed William Regal, and Regal like pretended his leg stopped working. It was so good.
yeah. Oh, you can always trust Regal to really. Sell
Regal,
something.
Regal's like, I'm all in.
Yeah,
I don't
Regal's
care
great.
how goofy it is.
Yeah.
Like, wrestling's great. Just
And Hook
Yeah.
is a wrestler basically memed into existence. Hook
It's Taz's
is
kid.
It's Taz's son.
Yeah.
The what's Taz's nickname? The submission machine. What is it?
oh, Taz.
No, Samoa Joe is the Samoan submission machine.
I can't remember what Taz's nickname
I'll
was.
find it.
Yeah. Anyway, it's Taz's kid.
Human suplex machine.
That's the one.
There
Thank
we
you.
go.
I knew there was a
Yeah.
machine.
There was a machine in there somewhere. Yeah. It's very confusing.
Yeah, I just wish he'd shut up during Lucha Express's entrance on Rampage. Anyway, so we actually talked about him briefly in the cinematic match with Sting and Darby Allin versus Team Taz.
Yeah.
Because Hook was there and like interfered. There was no DQ, but he got involved, but he wasn't really like necessarily a wrestler. Mm-hmm. And then after CM Punk debuted in AEW, he got into a spat with Taz at one point, and Punk was like, "What? Send me any of your Team Taz cronies, right? Like, like whatever, Ricky Starks or Powerhouse Hobbs. Send Hook." Go for it. And then people were like, yes, send Hook. He's just this guy with big hair.
Yeah.
He's got anime protagonist hair.
Yeah.
Anyway, he did in fact have a match, and people were like, oh, he's actually good.
Yeah.
Because it could have gone either way. Mm-hmm. Turns out, no, he's actually just good.
Turns out he can wrestle.
And so they've teamed him up now with Danhausen into the tag team of Hookhausen, and they're goofing around. And yeah, they had this.
Both of them,
They had this match at the buy-in. Yeah.
I really like the way AEW slow burns a lot of their like talent. I think they're very good at it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like evident with like what they did on this card with like a lot of people, especially the first match.
Yes. So let's actually talk about the show proper. So the first match is Wardlow versus MJF. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a lot to discuss here in terms of storyline and presentation. So MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, is just one of the best.
Oh, he might be the best.
He's so good. He can cut a promo that just makes you hate this guy, and he's so good at it. For quite a while, Wardlow, this huge beast of a man, has been his hired muscle. Mm-hmm. In storyline, Wardlow doesn't work for AEW. Wardlow works for MJF. Wardlow is under contract as a bodyguard to MJF specifically.
Yeah.
And unsurprisingly, with MJF's character being a bastard, eventually Wardlow's like, you know what? F this. I want out of this contract. This sucks. I want to be a proper wrestler. And MJF is like, okay, fine. if you want out of the contract, you have to beat me in a singles match. But before we get to that singles match, you have to go through all of these hoops. This is something he's done before.
Yeah.
He did this with Cody. I think he's done it with some other people as well.
Did it with Jericho.
Yeah.
Do you think it's played out?
No, I mean, it doesn't happen that often, and it's definitely a thing of his character that I kind of like. So it's, you know, so he's like, okay, for you to even have a singles match with me, first, you cannot touch me until this singles match, to the extent that they actually cuff Wardlow and keep him backstage.
Yeah.
Handcuffed. You get 10 lashes with a belt.
Yep.
There's a thing he did to Cody as well. Like literally, like you get whipped 10 times. You have a singles match against Sean Spears in a steel cage, and MJF is the referee, and you have to win that match, and then you can have the singles match with MJF. Yeah. So some stuff I liked in the lead up when they were doing the contract signing to agree to all of this. MJF was talking about how many lashes, right? It's like not one, not two, not three, and he builds all the way up, and he's like, not 9. Sean, how many lashes will it be? And of course, Sean Spears, we've talked about him extensively before, formerly known as Ty Dillinger in WWE, the Perfect 10, Ty Dillinger, and they don't reference it very often. In AEW, but they did reference it this time with like, and how many was that? And so Sean Spears sort of like, he like gets himself adjusted and then does the like 10, and the crowd is like 10, and the crowd pops for the 10. Yeah, he did the thing. Sean Spears is the chairman of AEW. That's not like a corporate thing. He's the chairman. Yeah, he carries around the steel chairs all the time. He has people with chairs. Yeah, that's his characters. He do the hit people with chairs.
Yeah, it's like no one else is allowed to carry around chairs or anything like that.
Yeah, like there was a backstage segment months ago actually, as this feud was starting to sort of percolate, where MJF was basically saying to Wardlow, like Wardlow started to complain, and then MJF like deflected and turned it around, and it was brilliant. And it was like, look, you weren't there when I needed your protection for this other thing, so I've assigned you an accountability buddy, which is Sean Spears, and it was clearly the first that Sean was hearing about it as well. So he's like polishing a steel chair in the back of shot, and he's like, huh? And then MJF leaves, and then Wardlow just stares daggers at Sean, who's like, hey. It was really good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So, they did 10 lashes with a belt on an episode of Dynamite, and Wardlow just sort of took it.
A lot. Yeah.
Because he's a big tough dude.
Yeah. Some of them they just teed off on the poor guy.
Oh yeah.
One of the ones that Sean Spears did, he like reached back like Randy Johnson. He's like, I'm gonna kill this seagull again, and he like wound up. He's like, bang, and just hit him so hard. I was like, oh my god. Yeah.
Then the steel cage match was sweet. I watched this as well. So he comes out. Wardlow doesn't have his own theme music, so he gets led out from backstage, still handcuffed, surrounded by arena security guards. I don't know if this sounds familiar to anyone else's entrance, but the crowd do start chanting Wardlow, Wardlow, akin to Goldberg, because he's being escorted to the ring by security. Of course, he's handcuffed. Generally, then the referee or someone will then undo his handcuffs at that point. But of course, the referee was MJF, so he's just like, no. You're handcuffed. And ring the bell. So they're in a steel cage. It's Sean Spears, Wardlow handcuffed, and MJF as a referee who is obviously never going to give Wardlow a clean count or any kind of advantage or anything. Eventually Wardlow like hulks out of the snaps the handcuffs, and there's a ref bump, like MJF gets taken out by Sean Spears by accident. Wardlow just like power bombs Spears like a bajillion times until eventually another official comes out and actually counts the...
Like, I'm just going to keep hitting this guy, powerbombing this guy until another ref comes out?
Just going to keep hitting this guy until another ref shows up, and eventually another ref showed up and counted, and so Wardlow won that match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which kind of seems weird, right, from a storytelling perspective, where it's like, why wouldn't AEW just know? I mean, okay, so yes, I understand that wrestling is stupid.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, this is me knowing full well.
We've
right?
established wrestling is stupid.
Wrestling is
We can
dumb and
build up
doesn't
from
make any
there.
sense. Yeah, but it's just like, how as a company can you look at this and be like, yeah, this is okay, you know? But I mean, like, he'll get a fair shake, right?
Yes,
We all
everyone-
like fair competition in our, you know, we want to keep the spirit of competition. Like the Olympics was like, what if in the Olympics everyone's like, yeah, they're all French judges now, and everyone's like, I don't know if I like that too much, right? Like that seems a little shady, doesn't it? Like, no, it'll be fine.
In this instance, everyone agreed to it.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah, I guess they're kind of like, yeah, well, you said yes.
it is weird that it's like technically Wardlow is not an employee of AEW.
Yeah.
In storyline, so it's like, so you want to use a spot on our weekly show. You just imagine Tony Khan is listening to the pitch from MJF, and it's like, hang on, so you're going to referee a match between our employee Sean Spears and your bodyguard in a steel cage on our show?
Yeah.
You know, it's like
The insurance complications would be off the charts.
yeah, uninsurable. Yeah, obviously.
It's like, what would you do at that point,
Yeah.
right?
So anyway, Wardlow gets to have this match
Yeah.
at Double or Nothing, and if he beats MJF, then he's out of his contract with MJF and can do whatever he actually wants. Now there was some behind the scenes stuff that came up around this
Yes.
that I guess we should
chat about
talk about
Yeah.
because if it, you know, if
A
it,
lot of this stuff, I never really believe it. I'm like, yeah, whatever, you know?
there's definitely truth to some of what was going on here, and they have now sort of turned it into a storyline. But basically, MJF is, I think justifiably, not happy with his contract status in AEW because he signed on very, very early on. And so now he, as one of the best draws in the company in terms of people tuning in to see what he's going to talk about, is not getting paid as much as, you know, certainly not as much as like CM Punk or Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson. JR made that same mistake the other day.
Yeah.
JR called him JR called him Daniel Bryan on commentary, and he's like, oh shoot, I'm not supposed to say that name. And William Regal was on commentary, and he's like, it's okay, I made that name up, you're allowed. Because of course Regal was in NXT when Bryan Danielson was there, and so
Regal's
I
the
guess
best,
Regal would have been
man.
like,
Regal's
right,
so
we'll call you
good.
Daniel Bryan.
How could you ever fire Steven Regal? I don't even know.
Can't imagine what
Yeah.
led to Regal getting fired from NXT, but now he's in AEW and he's great.
Yeah. He's been awesome.
So good. Anyway, I love he never calls Excalibur by his name. Whenever he joins them on commentary, he's like, good to see you, Tony, JR, Man in the Mask. He always, you're looking resplendent today.
He's so good.
Anyway, this contract dispute, because they had not at this time been able to resolve it, is is causing MJF distress.
Yeah.
To the point that he no-showed the AEW meet and greet on the Saturday before this show on the Sunday. And so it was reported that he missed the meet and greet, security didn't know where he was, and that he'd booked a flight out of Vegas. He never got on that flight. He did show up to the show, but it was like, is he even going to make it to the show?
Yeah.
Right? And, people were like, look, if you got a problem, whatever, that, you deal with that with Tony Khan, but you can't fuck over Wardlow by not, that would be awful. It would ruin this whole storyline. I don't think he was ever going to do that. He didn't do that. He did show up. But it's sort of like it became this big, like, is this a work? Is this a shoot? Is this real? Is this a storyline? Whatever. And it's everyone's scrambling to try and figure out what's real and what's not and disentangle, and it seems like, there is very clearly a legitimate contract concern that they have yet been able to hash out. Due to mental distress, MJF legitimately did not show up to the meet and greet. That was not storyline because they had to refund like 10 grand worth of tickets to meet MJF, right? Whatever discussions happened prior to Double or Nothing or since Double or Nothing, they've sort of now turned it into a storyline to the extent that on the Dynamite immediately following this show, MJF got a microphone and basically did his own, like, in kayfabe but not storyline kind of, you know, the pipe bomb promo, right? Where he's like, it got bleeped on TV, but he at one point yells at Tony Khan, "Fire me, you fucking mark." So
it was good.
It was great. It was an awesome promo, right?
Yeah.
It was, you know, it's like, you know, people getting worked, right?
Yeah. It's wild to me that MJF could be the biggest heel on the planet, but also the biggest babyface.
Yeah,
You know,
it's amazing.
I mean, I think if he's not getting paid that much money, I would be upset if I was him, right? Like he is a talent, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's deserved. And maybe that's not the best way to handle it, but
and I think it's
I'm not in his position.
yeah,
right?
and I think it's one of those situations where it's like he's got two more years on his current contract, right? And so it's like, okay, well, we can do more money, but then we want to extend the contract by like this many years, and it's like, well, no, hang on, I don't want to get in the same situation locked in to less than I'm worth, sort of thing, right?
Yes.
Especially when you look at how WWE is treating Cody, which is very well. So.
Yeah.
Anyway,
He does talk about how he's like, my in 2024 my contract's up. I might go over there. You know? It's like, it's like they're chomping at the bit, you know?
Yeah.
They want to pay MJF the big money. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so this match is
Before
not.
we start,
Yeah.
how funny was it when they're doing the entrances and Wardlow's sitting and they put him in like the drunk tank?
They put him in the arena. The T-Mobile Arena. Yeah, they put him in like where they put belligerent hockey fans.
Yeah. But he's wearing his gear.
Yeah.
So how long was he in there for? Was he in there all day?
I don't know.
These are the things I think about. I'm like, man. So they're like, yeah, put on your. It's like 9 a.m. Put in your gear. If you're in the arena, you got to be in the room, right?
Yeah, the arena has a brig essentially.
He's like, do I get my phone or anything? No. You just got to sit there. in
you're
your gear.
handcuffed.
Yeah, just sitting there in his spandex, like it's like a unitard, right? Like, he's wearing his onesie and just chilling. I found that relentlessly funny.
It was very good.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, I wonder how long he's been in there for.
So this match was never going to be more than what it is,
Yes.
right? This was never going to be, you know, like a.
This is achievement unlocked, is what this is.
Yes, this is not a ring, like a technical, you know, showcase, right? This is MJF shows up, tries to get away, pleads for his life, and gets power bombed 10 times.
Now, is that because of the 10 times that he got whipped?
It's a good number.
Yeah,
Good even number, Beach.
Yeah. So
like
basically, Wardlow just beats the crap out of him, power bombs him over and over and over again until he eventually just stands on him with one foot. And like he does the thing where it's like he's pinned him and the referee's like 1, 2, and then Wardlow pulls him up, right? And then keeps beating the crap out
The
of him.
commentators were great too.
Oh, yeah.
Tony was great. Do it again. Do it again.
Well, because Tony also hates MJF, right? Like, oh, what a dick.
Yeah, he's like, I hate this dick.
Yeah.
Powerbomb him again.
So eventually,
Tony.
1, 2, 3, and and Wardlow wins, and then goes to the top of the ramp, and Tony meets him there and is like, "I've just received word from head of AEW Tony Khan, Wardlow, you are all elite." So he's been signed officially in storyline by All Elite Wrestling. So now he's a real wrestler.
They're like, hooray!
So yeah,
A real boy.
it was a great start to the show, and the natural and expected conclusion of that storyline, and. So you just wanged your elbow on the table. You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. And sometimes the expected ending is the correct one.
Yes.
This was good. This was
they
a
took
good. It was
MJF out on a
cathartic.
stretcher and like.
Yeah, they put the oxygen mask on his eyes.
Yeah.
They put the oxygen mask on upside down so it covered his nose, but then went like up over his
His
eyes. It's like that guy's the legitimate AEW doctor too.
Yeah.
It was just kind of funny.
It's the same one that cleared Cody.
Yeah. Wait a minute. So. That was great. Right. There was the other half of the stipulation was if MJF had won, then Wardlow would never be allowed to sign with AEW, which obviously
would never happen,
Obviously, was never going to happen. So.
Yeah. You don't let the golden goose away.
Yeah.
You know what? Even still, I don't know. There's something about big wrestlers I don't like.
Oh yeah.
You know, big chonkers, like like a Wardlow or like a Braun Breaker or Big Show. Just not a big fan. You know, I just can never get into them. But I can see their I just like when I see them getting super popular, I'm like, I don't get it. You know, but it's not for me. I don't think.
I like Wardlow. He did a promo on the most recent Dynamite,
Yeah.
where they had there was a casino battle royal for a shot to. I'll explain more about this later. Suffice to say, a shot at the world title.
Yeah.
And he wasn't in it, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't ask to be in it because." The champion had to vacate from injury, and so they're having a tournament for an interim title. And he's like, I don't, that's our champion. When he's better, I'll fight him. I don't want to dick around with the interim title. Mm-hmm. So in the meantime, I want the other title. Whereas, and he calls out Scorpio Sky for the TNT title, right? And Scorpio Sky's like, oh, but I'm also injured. And Wardlow's like, all right, get better. I don't want you to 100%. I want you to 110%.
But Graham, that's mathematically impossible.
I didn't say Wardlow was smart. Anyway, I like that promo. So he's not just a big dude who can wrestle. He also he cuts a good promo, which I appreciate.
I guess maybe I'm just like scarred from years of WWE programming.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Where it's like big man, big strong.
Yeah.
I mean, when you end up with too many big men in the ring, they all tend to look the same size.
Yeah.
It's wild seeing that disparity in AEW. Because I'm thinking specifically of Billy Gunn, right? Who was always just like, yeah, he's like
6'5".
Yeah, but in WWE, he's like, yeah, look, it's Billy Gunn. He's a big guy, sure. In AEW, it's like, Jesus, Billy Gunn's enormous.
Yeah.
Just because the average wrestler size is lower in AEW, and this Billy Gunn looks huge.
Billy Gunn's like 45 or something. How old is Billy Gunn? 45, 50?
Let's find out.
Looks amazing.
I don't know, but the stuff they've been doing with his kids, so legitimately his sons, Austin and Colton Gunn, the Gun Club, is their actual tag team name, the Gun Club, but they're paired up with a different tag team of the Acclaimed.
They're great.
Who are great.
On me.
Max Caster comes out and does like 2008 John Cena raps, and they're very good. The other half of the Acclaimed is currently injured, and so comes out in a wheelchair. But Max Caster in his raps refers to the Gun Club as the Ass Boys
because of Mr. Ass.
Because Billy Gunn was Mr. Ass.
Yeah.
And they're always, their characters are stupid, right? And so they're like, don't stop calling us the Ass Boys. And then they grab the mic and are like, hello, wrong town. And then the other one's like, no, you idiot, and takes it from him and is like, hello, different wrong town. And then the guy in the wheelchair is like, oh my God, you guys are both the worst. And he grabs the microphone and then is like, hello, correct town. Okay. And then says to Billy Gunn, who's the one pushing the wheelchair around, because Billy Gunn prefers the Acclaimed to his own sons, refers to them as his sons.
Yeah.
He then he puts his hands up in a V, which then Billy Gunn gives him the opposite V and jiggles their hands together. Scissoring is what they call it, to the extent that the guy says on the microphone, "Scissor me, ass daddy."
Scissor me, daddy!
It's their whole group is just a menace.
What era was this? Is this happening now?
This is happening presently.
Year 2022. This is the millennials are not okay, Beach.
I thought you'd appreciate Scissor Me Ass Daddy.
Billy Gunn is 58 years old.
He's 58?
58.
He looks amazing.
He looks incredible.
Oh my God.
He's had so many names that I guess he'd have to be that old. Yes.
Yeah, he was half of the New Age Outlaws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Danhausen, by the way, it might only be billed at 5'10", but he does claim to stand 6'7".
Nice. Yeah.
He would, yeah.
So big men.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't actually think that any of the people we just talked about feature on the show, but we had to fill you in.
They're on it.
Are they?
Yeah, I think. Aren't they?
It'll be a surprise when they show up.
No, they're not.
No,
they're not. I'm thinking you were talking about that episode. It was an episode of Dynamite, I think, is what you referenced. And I'm like, yeah, they were on the show.
There was a clip. They showed a clip, actually, I think, during the show of them passed out in their hotel room.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Right. And Billy Gunn is filming on his phone and is like, oh my God, what is it? And he like carefully tucks Max Caster
he takes
back
the
into
blanket
bed.
off his own kid
Yeah.
and puts it on Max Caster. He's like, here you go, buddy. You don't deserve to be cold.
Yeah.
You know?
And the other guy's passed out with his hands up Well, he's passed out in the wheelchair with his fingers up like this, and he's like, does the it's so fucking stupid. Anyway, the next match has none of these people.
Yeah, none of them.
It's a brothers war. It's brothers versus brothers. Matt and Jeff, the Hardys, versus Matt and Nick, the Jacksons, the Young Bucks. Mm-hmm. It's the Hardys versus the Young Bucks, not the Hardy Boys. That's trademarked.
That's true. They can't
but the
say
Hardys.
I'm surprised the music isn't trademarked. Like, how did they get the music?
It must be, I don't recall who did it, but it's obviously like, it's not WWE original.
Yeah.
I don't recall what their theme song is, but anyway.
The Elite versus the Delete.
Right.
Or Delete versus the Elite.
Right. Because the Elite, the Young Bucks are part of the Elite, and, the Hardys would delete, except he's not broken Matt Hardy anymore. He's just Matt Hardy. Mm-hmm. I've said before on the show that, like, every single Young Bucks tag team match that I've ever seen is like, they clearly got together ahead of time and were like, all right, what are 5 things that have never been done in a tag team match before? Let's do all of those now.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know how
they're incredible.
I don't know how they don't run out of stuff to do, but it's amazing.
They might be the best tag team ever.
Yeah.
Pretty close, I think.
That cage match with them and the Lucha Brothers that we watched was like one of the greatest tag team matches I've ever seen.
I don't think I've ever seen them have a bad match.
No, I don't think so either.
Admittedly, I've only been watching them really like during AEW.
This was close to them having a bad match, I think.
Yeah. But that wasn't their fault.
No. They really carried this match because Jeff got knocked silly partway through this match, like I think like a third of the way into this match, and they've confirmed afterwards that something happened. He hit his head and he doesn't remember most of this match.
Oh, because I was gonna say, I was like, Jeff seemed really out of it.
Jeff was super out of it. I thought so at the time too. I was like, man, Jeff is like, what happened? Jeff's like really like not like, doesn't seem like he's all there right now. And he was not all there. So
that makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I
didn't know that.
This was still a surprisingly good match, considering one of the Hardys was like not totally conscious for large portions of it. Oh man,
I got a criticism. How bad was the Ring of Honor guest announcer? Sorry, whoever that was. Man, I feel bad, but he was like, at one point when the Young Bucks were making their entrance, he's like, "Yeah, I've had a lot of wars with these 4 guys in the ring right now," and it's like, there's only.
So is this?
There's only 2.
Is this Caprice Coleman?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. There's only 2 right. I mean, he was talking about the Hardys, but he said 4 men in the ring right now, and I'm just like, maybe he's nervous. I don't know. I try not to be too critical because, like, I wouldn't be able to get up there. Like, you put me behind that, and I'd be like, I don't know, man. I'm just saying things.
What do you think, Tony?
Yeah. I'd sound like Morty. Oh God.
Oh, jeez, Excalibur. So I mean, this match happened because it's like it's a like there wasn't much storyline going into it. Essentially, it's a dream match because it's the Young Bucks and the Hardys, and I think they have actually fought before, like in Ring of Honor. Yeah.
Could you imagine what we would have got if we got Hardys in their prime against the Young Bucks?
That would have been pretty sweet.
I was thinking about that while I was watching this, and I was like, man, I don't want to say. It's hard. Sometimes it's hard to watch these older wrestlers because you knew how good they were when they were younger, right? And everybody's body breaks down, and we're never as good as we were when we were younger, right? And it's like, man, they would have had an absolute banger if they just, we invented time machines.
Yeah,
that's all. That's all we got to do.
Get on it.
What's Elon up to, huh?
A bunch of wank.
Yeah, not doing anything important like inventing time machines so I can watch wrestlers fight younger versions of themselves.
Yeah,
I guess it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Reminder, it is now 10 years since he said in 10 years he'd put a man on Mars.
Wow.
Just saying.
All right.
That's the least that's like the least meaningful criticism of Elon Musk someone could ever have.
Mm-hmm. But hey, 10 years is 10 years, right?
What a knob. Anyway, there's no real storyline here. The match was entertaining.
One part that did crack me up was it might have been after, because you said Jeff got knocked silly early.
Yeah.
At one point, Jeff is standing on the apron, and the crowd's going, "Let's go Hardys, let's go Bucks."
Yeah.
And Jeff Hardy is like clapping along with every chant, even the let's go. When they were like, he's like, "Let's go Hardys, let's go Bucks." He's like just dancing on the apron, and I was just like, "Jeff, are you okay? What is going on?" But now that I know, that makes way more sense. Okay. Yeah. Young Bucks are incredible.
Yeah.
They lose this match. Well, I guess the Hardys win. They don't lose it.
Yeah. But it's still an entertaining match regardless.
Oh, the Young Bucks came out dressed like Elvis. They actually had a great entrance. The Super Kick Party, like parody of Viva Las Vegas. So instead of Viva Las Vegas, it was Super Kick Party.
Yeah,
Kick Party.
it's very silly.
Pretty good. Yeah,
This is previously they had a match on the Go Home Dynamite where they were dressed like the Hardys.
Yeah.
To the extent that they had like the SmackDown like 2000s era like fun facts in from the side, right? With like
Matt Hardy hates mustard.
yeah, like one of those things, and even Matt Jackson dressed like Matt Hardy referenced a specific time when Matt like screwed up his entrance and like hopped up on the rope to go like at the audience, but just like flipped over it and fell out of the ring. It's like that's such a deep cut.
Yeah,
it's such a needless deep reference that I just appreciated it. The Young Bucks are very good.
they're awesome. They're so good.
Next match is for the TBS Championship. It is Jade Cargill defending against Anna Jay.
How big is Jade Cargill?
So, according to Wikipedia, she is only, I'm using air quotes here, only 5'10", which is tall for a lady.
There's no way she's 5'10".
She looks like she's 7 feet tall.
Yes.
Like God, yeah, Jade Cargill's amazing.
Yeah.
She's on a 30-something match win streak.
Yeah, she hasn't lost really in a long time.
Undefeated streak. Has not lost in a long time, if ever. I don't know.
think she's lost ever.
I think they're Goldberging. And justifiably, because and so versus Anna Jay, who had this match was sort of thrown together as well.
Yes. I couldn't remember any build up to this. I was
basically Anna Jay came out and was like, "Hey, I fought you once before and didn't get there, but I want to try again." And Jade was like, "Okay." So it's like not really like a barnstormer of a storytelling here, but Jade's also out there with the baddie section, which is Red Velvet and Kira Hogan, which are her sort of supporters.
No relation to
no relation. This is a good match. Like they're very entertaining to watch.
All you need is like Jade Cargill, just like let her be big and strong.
Yeah, which she is. So are you looking at photos, Beach?
Yeah. I am very familiar with what Jade Cargill looks like. I want to be very clear. She looks like she's carved out of wood.
Yeah.
I just am gogging at the fact that she debuted March 3rd, 2021.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
In 2019, she went to the WWE Performance Center for a tryout. Then she started training at a bunch of different academies. And then in 2021 is when she arrived at AEW. That was when she started wrestling.
I would believe that she just, in 2021, she just stepped out of like a vat for where someone was trying to grow like the perfect wrestler. What was she doing?
Like, I picture more of like they're at Stonehenge and a lightning bolt hits one of the things and it cracks in half and there's just a human being inside and it's her.
Yeah. What was she possibly doing with her life before being a professional wrestler? Like there's no
there's no information actually on her page. There's no information at all saying anything else she's done before that.
Never existed.
They're hiding something, Beach. You cracked this one wide open. That meme, that Always Sunny meme, Beach has got the red lines everywhere.
The Pepe Sylvia, So, unsurprisingly, she wins this match. Retains the title, and then there's some debuts all of a sudden. So for a while now, Jade Cargill has been represented by her lawyer, Smart Mark Sterling.
Which is a pretty good joke.
Who seems to have been fired because he is no longer her mouthpiece. Not fired by AEW. He's still involved. Actually, he showed up on Dynamite to serve Wardlow with court papers because on behalf of the union of arena security workers.
No
way. Because of all the security guards that Wardlow's been turfing out of. Because during the steel cage match,
so good.
During the steel cage match, they all ran in and he just like threw them. He's just like hurl. So it's a class action lawsuit.
That's so good.
Which he gave him the option. He's like, either we can go to court or you can fight 20 of these guys in a handicap elimination match. So that's happening on next week's Dynamite at time of recording.
More lawsuits should be performed like that.
Yes. I think our court system would benefit greatly. It's like
So Jade Cargill's new mouthpiece is Stokely Hathaway, formerly known as Malcolm Bivens in NXT. I know because I haven't been following NXT either. Apparently, he's great. I mean, I've enjoyed what I've seen of him in AEW, but I haven't seen anything of Malcolm Bivens in
That's why I was
WWE.
confused. I was like, when I was watching the pay-per-view, I was like, who is that?
And people were like, "Yo, it's Stokely Hathaway." I'm like,
That's his real name.
Really?
Yeah, that's his birth name.
Wow.
I was like, there's no way. Oh my God, it is.
Good for him.
Put on your Stokely's.
Making it work.
That's, man, I can't remember what I was going to say. I lost it completely. Yeah.
And the other debut is Athena,
Yeah.
formerly known as Ember Moon, who is now much less of a werewolf, more's the pity, but is still very cool.
Yes.
And so she comes out and she's like,
she looked tiny next to Jade.
yeah, but
She's
but
like
mad.
She's
power
like a
packed,
dwarf, you know? Like,
Yeah.
She's like a
from Warhammer.
yes,
Yeah.
a Warhammer dwarf.
Yeah. So she comes out and she's like, I want, to challenge you. And then they sort of leave it there. In the subsequent weeks of Dynamite, Jade Cargill's like, no, you can't just come in here and, you fight Red Velvet, or was it Kira Hogan? I think it was Kira Hogan. Anyway, great match, but Athena beat the pants off her. Athena's great. It's nice to see her wrestling again.
I would love to be, if I was a wrestler, man, I would love to be one of the lackeys. You know, just the lackey that gets done. Like Brock Lesnar throws me around for 5 minutes on TV, and then I just I get to dust off and go back and be like, yeah, sick, that was awesome.
Yeah, you and Wardlow have a similar haircut.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
we're basically brothers.
Basically,
yeah, same thing.
Yeah,
we both love playing Uno. That's how we met.
Unfortunately, Evil Uno is not on the card this evening.
No,
because that would have been a great segue. But our next match is a trios match. They have yet to introduce a trios title yet.
I think they
probably will.
They're keeping track of the record, so I'm assuming that's coming, right?
Yeah.
I think a trios title's cool.
I think so too.
I mean, they did just debut a new title.
They did. It's a weird
lot
one.
Of titles.
So they debuted. This is again since Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
They debuted the All Atlantic Championship.
Yes.
And the idea being that it's going to be defended through multiple promotions as well. Mm-hmm. So the idea is that it's an AEW title that can go traveling through other wrestling promotions. Which that sounds cool. They didn't talk about that on the broadcast.
That does sound cool. That actually makes it a lot more than just like, oh, it's just another title.
Yes, because I was like, why?
Yeah.
But yeah,
because now you could do a thing where like, man, that's kind of cool. Because like, let's say an AEW wrestler wins the All Atlantic title, they go somewhere else like Rev Pro or like somewhere, and then they lose it.
DDT,
yeah, and then they get like grainy hand cam footage of like the loss happening, and then that champion gets to come and get on TV, on AEW and get some exposure.
Yeah, that's great.
Actually brilliant. Yeah. Oh, I love that. Okay,
my only criticism is it's called the All Atlantic Championship, and they have a bunch of flags on the thing, including the flags of China and Japan, notable Atlantic countries.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I was like, man. I was like, I'm not a geography genius, but I'm pretty sure Japan's in the Pacific, right?
It's a good name for a championship, but it doesn't... Anyway. That's not what's happening here. This is a trios match with the House of Black, which is Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews, and Brody King, versus Death Triangle, which is the Bastard Pack and the Lucha Brothers. So Penta Obscuro.
What is it in Spanish? Triángulo de la Muerta?
Yeah. Triangelo? Is that you made that one up?
Just
yeah. And Ray Phoenix.
You ever watch a man guess in real time? Because that was me. I just gripped it and ripped it on that one.
Yeah.
Triangelo.
They've been feuding for a while.
Yes.
These two.
This has been great,
These
actually.
two groups.
House of Black's been awesome.
Yeah.
They're like spooky, but not supernatural spooky, but kind of supernatural spooky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. It's the more that the like the darkness spreads on Malachi Black's face, the more powerful he gets.
Yeah.
It's weird. Also, man, Buddy Matthews looks like he's built like a truck.
Yes.
Only an Australian can get away with having a first name of Buddy.
Yeah.
It's just one of those names that like only Australians get, like Lachlan. That's another name you only find in Australia.
Yeah. Buddy.
Buddy.
Yeah. I don't know. This match was awesome.
Yes, this was amazing.
I don't think there was
like,
any way this match wasn't going to be good.
any match with a Canadian destroyer.
Also, a Canadian destroyer off of it was Penta and was it Buddy Matthews or was it
I think so.
it was Buddy Matthews.
Yeah.
Buddy Matthews and Ray Phoenix were on the apron, and then like Ray Phoenix got shoved into Buddy Matthews, and then Buddy Matthews kicked him and was like bent over, and then Buddy Matthews like went down for like a powerbomb or a pile driver, and then fucking Penta jumps off the top rope and just like, or not like, I think he was on the apron, but he comes off the apron and like flips over and gives a destroyer to Buddy Matthews on the apron while he was like still tangled up with Ray Phoenix, and I'm like, man, someone's gonna die. I'm gonna watch someone die, and I'm gonna feel uncomfortable, and I'm gonna have to stop watching wrestling for at least 2 weeks. And you can't expect me to be inconvenienced like that. Okay, so just everybody play cool.
Everybody calm down. Yeah, this match was excellent.
How fast is Pac's like little spin around kick?
It's amazing.
Every time he does it, I'm like, oh my god. Do you think you could take one of those?
No. I don't understand how tall is
$100.
How tall is Pac?
I'm gonna say like 5'8", 5'9", maybe.
Because he's also that wide.
Yeah.
He is 5'8",
Ah!
Good guess. Nice.
194 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's a square,
Yeah, he's a square.
right? And he moves so fast.
So fast.
I don't understand how someone that shape moves
Yeah.
so quickly.
Yeah.
And the Black Arrow, his giant corkscrew 450 spinny whatever splash off the ropes. It's like, you're hitting G forces at that point.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
Pretty much. Incredible.
So the match, this feud isn't over either, because the match ends
Yeah.
with Pac jumps up on the turnbuckle to do the Black Arrow, we assume, because I can't remember who it is. If it's Malachi or Brody King.
It's Malachi.
Okay, who's lying down in the ring.
Yeah.
The lights go out.
Yeah.
The lights come back up,
I thought it was Bray for sure.
that would've been dope.
I would have bet $1 million.
and it's Julia Hart is now standing directly in front of Pac, and he's like, "What?"
Because they've been playing this storyline for a couple of weeks now, where Julia Hart got sprayed with the black, because the House of Black was kind of feuding with the Varsity Blondes, which is Brian Pillman Jr. and that other guy.
Sorry, other guy.
Other guy. I don't know.
Who's the other guy in the Varsity Blondes beach?
You run
second, I'll figure
the
it out.
unfortunate circumstance of being with Brian Pillman's kid.
Yeah.
You're always going to be the other guy.
Yeah, I'm
So-
so sorry, dude.
I want to say his name's like Tag. I don't know.
Lachlan.
Lachlan.
No.
What's the name of the group again?
The Varsity Blondes.
Varsity Blondes.
Yeah, they're definitely a throwback tag team.
Yeah.
They're like,
Well, I mean, Brian Pillman and Steve Austin's tag team were the Hollywood Blondes.
Yeah.
Garrett Griffith or Griff Garrison?
Griff
Garrison.
There
That's
we
it,
go.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Sorry,
close. Tag.
sorry, Griff.
Yeah, sorry, Griff. So there's been like the storyline where like, what's her name again? Sorry,
Julia Hart.
Julia Hart got sprayed with the
Because
black
she
mist.
was like their
She was with the Varsity Blondes.
Yeah.
She's dressed as a cheerleader, or like someone who works at a soda shop.
yeah,
And she got sprayed with the black mist, and she had an eye patch for like the longest time.
right.
And then the Varsity Blondes were like, we're gonna call it the House Black right now because we want to fight them for spraying that black mist in her eye. And so they came out and they got decimated by the House of Black. And then there was like a moment where Malachi was like kind of like confronting Julia in the corner, and she was scared and she didn't know what to do. And that's basically how they built off this. And then I
Yeah,
guess,
and then she reappears here
yeah.
in the ring facing Pac, and Pac's like, "What the hell are you doing here?" And then she sprays Pac with the black mist,
Yes.
and he's like falling to the ground, like and everything. And then so then House of Black wins the match, and Julia Hart is now officially in the House of Black.
Man, I don't know how I don't think there's a world that exists where somebody doesn't succeed by being put with those three people.
Yeah.
You know? There's like some factions, kind of like what they did with like the Blackpool Combat Club and stuff like that, where it's like, I love what AEW is doing, where they're like, they take like 2 or 3 established people, but then they just start throwing in like 1 or 2 like little babies with them.
Yeah.
I mean, it should make sense, and you'd think more people would do it.
Blackpool Combat Club is like, it's less relevant for this show because they're not acting as they're like the members of the Blackpool Combat Club show up in a match later. But just for your interest, it's William Regal is managing them, and it's Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson and Wheeler Yuta.
Yeah.
Who's in this case is the
baby.
He's a widow baby who bled a lot in that match against Jon Moxley.
Yeah.
And then they were like, "Hey, you're cool. Join the club." And so now he's the ROH Pure champion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pure champion.
Tony Khan owns ROH now.
Oh yeah, by the way.
We could talk about that. Not like the corporation that he and his dad are involved in that owns AEW and all that stuff, and that Tony Khan's the CEO of. No, Tony Khan personally owns ROH.
Yeah.
Because they were in some dire times, and now also they have the tape library, which is that's the value.
That's the sweetest jewel.
Yeah. And so
Is that the sweetest jewel with like any franchise, really? I mean,
probably
really?
I don't
Like-
even know what that means.
No, it's the sweetest plum is what I should have said.
Ah.
But I like the sweetest jewel.
I don't know what either of those means.
Yeah.
It's the thing that, on which you make the best money back. Generally, it's like, this is the thing. It's like, oh, you get this much of a T-shirt. You remember Bart and Lisa were getting 10 to 15% of like the T-shirt sales when Krusty returned to air, and he's like, "What? That's the sweetest plum." That was because it's like
The sweetest plum in the icebox?
yeah, it's like it's the one that you want because you know you're going to make the most money off of it, because you can always syndicate it, send it to reruns,
Right.
do whatever you want with it.
Okay.
Okay.
So yes, because
I didn't even think about that. I don't think about stuff like that too often.
I mean, that's people were like, oh, I mean, maybe WWE is going to buy the tape library just because Vince wants all the tapes,
Yeah.
right? He Vince wants to own all the history of wrestling, and he owns most of it, but not ROH. So anyway, so they've been doing ROH shows, and they've been having some crossovers with like FTR are the ROH tag team champions right now, and they're in AEW. So they've been doing a lot of back and forth, sort of like bleeding across.
Okay, I'm not going to segue too hard, but do you ever think that Vince just sits around watching wrestling in his own time? Like, can you picture Vince sitting on his couch?
When does
at
he
home?
have time?
Yeah, I guess probably not, but I just like the idea of like
All right,
Vince
I'm
sits
picturing
down,
it.
right?
Yeah,
Like
I'm picturing
He
it.
only sleeps 3.5 hours a night.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
So it's like, I don't know, 11 p.m. Friday night.
Yeah, he's
No, that's
140 years
SmackDown.
old.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, it's Sunday night.
Yeah.
No pay-per-view.
Okay.
11 p.m.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon sits down on his couch, puts his feet up, turns on some wrestling, you know?
Get some Coliseum home video of like Stampede wrestling.
Yeah.
Puts
you know?
on the head-mounted display and the headphones.
Yeah.
Everywhere he looks, he's surrounded by wrestling.
It puts on a VR headset
Yeah,
that's just tessellated, just
Yeah.
screen after screen of wrestling, and he can just absorb all the wrestling.
He's like the lawnmower man of wrestling.
Yeah.
I am God here. You know, I'm not wrong.
Yeah. You're not. That's why it's so funny. Yeah.
With his Sunday night steak wrap.
Yeah. You know? Did you see?
Yes, I did.
Did you see? Beach, did you see?
What's up?
Apparently, Vince McMahon's aversion to sneezing is overblown.
Is it?
Yes.
I was just thinking about it today.
You know who got out?
Whenever we do this podcast, I always end up thinking about it for some reason.
Do you know who revealed this information?
Stephanie McMahon.
Freddie Prinze Jr., baby.
What?
Yeah, he used to be a writer for the WWE.
For a small period of time, they brought him on as a writer on Raw. Well, Raw and SmackDown, I
There's
think.
still hope for either of you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm free. The shackles have been gone. I don't have to worry about sneezing on camera or anything now.
Yeah. It's perfect.
It's great.
But apparently he's not, I'll fire your ass if you sneeze in front of
No.
me.
No.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. You just
good.
you don't sneeze at somebody because that'd be rude.
You're gonna sneeze in his mouth, but I thought just sneezing around him, he's just like, oh.
Sneeze in my mouth.
Okay, no.
The next match, is the finals of the men's bracket.
Wait, did we say who won? House of Black won.
Oh yeah, because
Sorry.
of Julia Hart. sprayed Pac. House of Black won. Julia Hart's in House of Black now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's a good match. Very entertaining.
Yeah.
Go check that out. Next match is the men's final of the Owen Hart Foundation Championship Tournament.
Before you go on, can you elaborate on why? Like, does this benefit the Owen Hart Foundation, or is it just because it's been given the title, or is it like that? Like whoever wins, there'll be a donation to that charity in their name, like that kind of thing.
This is so the winning wrestler gets a belt, which is not a title to be defended; it is a trophy.
Right, you have won this one.
Yeah, and they get their name on a cup, and then I imagine that the Owen Hart Foundation is getting a good chunk of money from AEW basically for use of likeness rights. Like they've released like new Owen Hart merchandise, basically because his wife will never work with WWE ever again.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's
understandable.
Yeah, because for those keeping score at home, Owen Hart, younger brother of Bret Hart, tremendously good wrestler.
Also tremendously good human being by all accounts.
Yeah. Died during a pay-per-view when his entrance thing is like the zip line he was doing a ridiculous entrance with at Vince's behest broke, and he fell from the rafters onto the turnbuckle.
Live in front of an capacity crowd.
Yeah, and then the show kept going. Yeah.
Which is wild to me.
Yeah, I don't think they do that today.
No.
They shouldn't have done it then, but I don't think they do it today. So that's the short version. But anyway, Martha Hart?
Yeah. Martha.
Yeah. To the surprise of no one.
Learn that name.
As you know, basically doesn't want anything to do with WWE. She was there actually at the result of this, like thanking the winners, and she did a little speech and just seemed to be having a great time. It was just nice to see her, and there was a big thank you Martha chant. And, that was nice. So yeah, this is basically just sort of like a tribute to Owen Hart and a way to support the Owen Hart Foundation. Also just an excuse for good storylines of this tournament. There's a men's tournament and a women's tournament, and this has been going on for months now weeks at least, on Dynamite and Rampage, and it's been a big sort of bracket all leading to these finals. So the men's final is Adam Cole, Bebe, versus the Samoan Submission Machine, Samoa Joe.
So I guess we should say that Samoa Joe did show up after ROH got bought.
Yeah.
They had a pay-per-view.
Samoa Joe's in AEW now too.
Yeah. So Samoa Joe showed up at the ROH show, and then he's been with AEW ever since.
He's been great.
He's been awesome.
It's nice to see Samoa Joe again.
Oh man, I love Samoa Joe. I
He's
mean,
so
I
good.
miss the glory days of Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
The TNA days. I didn't watch any of that, but man, I never believed somebody more walking out to the ring than when I watched Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
I'm like, you were gonna hurt somebody.
That's why the crowd chants Joe's going to kill you.
Yeah.
I think they're serious.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. I can't.
It's amazing he hasn't accidentally killed someone. Not from working unsafely. He's a very safe worker.
He's very
it's
safe.
just, he's very powerful.
How he didn't get a run in WWE? His run was pretty good, but
there was some injuries, and
some
it
weird
just
injuries
I
and
don't know, sucks.
It's wild to me.
Yeah, and then they fired him twice in the same year.
Yeah.
They fired him, and then Triple H, I think, was like, "Are you mad?" And then brought him back to NXT as a authority figure, and then transitioned back to being a wrestler, and then they fired him again.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was hoping he was going to win this match, but Adam Cole ends up winning this match.
Yep.
Just to skip to the end. It's a good match.
Yeah, it's great. There's not really much storyline to talk
Adam
about.
Cole-
That's what we're here for, right?
Adam Cole comes out in his outfit. He's wearing the pink. And I was like, "Oh, are they all going to do that?" And then Samoa Joe comes out in his black and neon green trunks. I'm like, "Oh, okay, no, I guess they're not going to do that." Okay.
He's just doing his thing. You let Joe do what he wants. Okay,
Yeah.
Are you going to tell him no?
Of course not. Never.
Yeah. Bobby Fish comes out to cause some distraction.
Right, because Adam Cole's been hanging around with Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, who, again, the three of them were the undisputed era in NXT. So they're now a team again in AEW. They're adjacent to the Elite.
They're the undisputed elite.
Yes, that's what they are now, yes. Because Adam Cole is in the Elite. I don't know if Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, a tag team known as Red Dragon, Redragon, Red.
I always
Dragon.
read it as Redragon too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Red Dragon, but they only have one D.
Yeah. And
So
the D is
it's-
capitalized.
Yeah,
It's like small r, small e, capital D.
I am writing to you, R.E. Dragon. Kyle O'Reilly's been on a heater of a
Oh, O'Reilly's
thing
great.
as well. Yeah. Actually, I guess that comes up later.
Yeah, it does.
Because they sort of throw another match together. But anyway, Adam Cole wins this match. There was a little bit of interference from the rest of the Undisputed Elite. So, it's maybe not the cleanest victory.
No, but it should be.
But it's a victory.
I mean, like, by wrestling standards, like, we as the audience are conditioned to believe that someone the size of Adam Cole needs to cheat to beat someone the size of Samoa Joe,
Yeah.
which I don't necessarily think is the best practice always going, but I think that's like the WWE thing, right? We've
Yeah.
been trained
That's fine.
to think that way,
The next match is the women's final of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, who again is a dentist. Just reminding Beej.
Oh, I've been reading the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Who still practices.
Yeah, she's a member of the American Dental Association.
Yeah. Apparently, like does her normal dental work and then like leaves and flies out for wherever they're doing Dynamite and then goes back the next day and continues to do teeth. So, okay.
It's a passion.
Yeah. Versus Ruby Soho. I mean, similar to the other match, but I think a lot more relevantly, I really, really wanted Ruby Soho to win this match.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you knew the second that Adam Cole was winning this match, you knew what was going to happen in this match, right?
Yeah, Adam Cole and Britt Baker are a couple in real life. Also, Britt Baker also comes out wearing pink.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, oh, I see.
Fair shake, though. Like, at least this match had a little bit more storyline implications going around because
did.
They did play up the, like, Ruby Soho did, when she debuted, she lost her title match against Britt Baker, who was the champion at the time.
Yeah, she won the Battle Royal.
Yeah.
And so got to challenge Britt Baker and lost that match. So she hasn't been able to yet get one over on Britt Baker. So this was like, it's the redemption arc. Also, Rancid was there.
Yeah.
What a great entrance. They performed the song.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, oh, look at he's getting such a cool entrance. She's got to win. No.
No.
Again, it's a good match.
Britt Baker got the guitarist from Fozzy.
I was like, cool.
He was just like, man, I've never seen somebody have so much just happy to be here energy.
Oh wow, he really did too. He was just like just going it down on the guitar.
Yeah.
Fozzy, of course, is Chris Jericho's band.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's Ruby Soho gets Rancid and Britt Baker gets the guitarist from Chris Jericho's band.
It's like that scene in Simpsons. I'll take Wade Boggs. All right, I'll take Millhouse, I guess. All right, I'll take Dale Strawberry. It's like, I'll take Rancid. Yeah. Oh, man. I guess I'll take the guitarist from Fozzy.
So it was weird. I'm gonna skip to the end again.
Yeah.
It was weird because after the match, then they had the sort of the ceremony with Martha Hart, as I mentioned, and it's like both of these people are heels,
Yes.
right? Dr. Britt Baker and Adam Cole are heels, but in this moment, they're not being treated that way, like by the crowd, because this is all feel goods with like the Owen Hart Foundation, and they get these cool belts, and they get their name on the trophy, and Martha's there being wonderful, and she's thanking everyone for letting this whole thing happen, and everyone's like, yay, look at Adam Cole and Britt Baker, people are happy for them in this moment, even though they're bad guys. So it's just sort of
weird,
sort of weird.
It's like, I guess that's like the hard part about wrestling, where it's like you can't.
It's tricky.
It's this weird old school mentality, That's where it's like a heel needs to be heel all the time.
It's a weird balancing act, right? It feels weird when it's like the crowd was super behind Ruby Soho and she lost, and the crowd's like, boo, Britt Baker, and then Britt Baker goes to the top of the ramp, and Martha Hart comes out and is like, cool, and then now you get this neat belt, and everyone's like, yay, Britt Baker.
Yay, Britt Baker.
So it's just sort of it's an odd thing.
Especially when the tournament itself is probably a fairly set outcome, obviously.
Well, they would have planned from the probably
Isn't
from the
it
beginning.
weird that DraftKings is a sponsor? You can bet on wrestling. Doesn't that
is
just
weird.
seem Right?
Because
Yeah.
Excalibur wouldn't shut up about. I mean, obviously he has to talk
Yeah.
about their sponsor, but there's like the show opens with it's like, again, there's no video at the beginning of the thing. It's just like pyro and we're live. Which
wow.
again, Tony, please, some sort of intro video. But then it goes to, it's like shot of the arena, pyro, shot of the announcers, and it's like, hey, what's up? It's Tony Schiavone, JR, and me, I'm Excalibur, and our partner is DraftKings, so let's go to an ad. And then it played this minute-long DraftKings ad right at the top of the show.
Yeah.
And it's like, ugh. Just in terms of theatrical flow, it was really bad.
Seems weird.
Dude,
It's also weird to me that you just bet on it. Like, they're like, who will use their signature move first?
I mean, people can bet on the outcome of movies.
so
Like,
No.
you can bet on just about anything in Vegas, right? So if you're like, we're betting on what's going to happen in the next season of Lost, like that kind of stuff. People do that. They bet on all sorts of stuff like that. People were betting on who shot Mr. Burns.
No, they weren't.
They were. There were hard odds on like a lot of, like, Maggie Simpson was somewhere down like partway on the list, but she was still pretty highly placed.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can bet on whatever you want when it's like, if people don't know the outcome, that makes it fair. And the only people who know the outcome are the people who are scripting it. If they're not talking, then you can pretty
Wouldn't
sure
the
it's safe.
wrestlers be risk though, right? Like
Yeah.
Like that just opens up. I feel like this just opens up a whole door.
Yeah.
That's just a lot of problems.
presumably nobody in AEW is allowed to bet on AEW for like, presumably you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched any of the Olympics or if you have been watching any playoff hockey, but sports betting is now allowed in Ontario. So all the commercial breaks on any Canadian station now are like, I would say 60 to 70% betting websites by volume. And I saw there was a Beaverton article. Beaverton is like Canada's Onion for those keeping score.
They're pretty good.
They're very good, but it was like people want sports betting to go back to not being allowed in Canada just so that all these fucking ads will go away.
Yeah.
Because it's like Bet River and Bet 365 but there's like 4 or 5 different companies and there's just, it's incessant. And the thing is, it's only legal in Ontario. Ontario has a very high population, so yeah, I guess you want to do national advertising, but all the other provinces and territories in Canada have to sit through all this horse shit. When it's like, please just shut up. Just show me the same Canadian Tire ad 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Just give me the one where they cover Tragically Hip. Just play that one over and over again, please. We're ahead by a century. All right, cool. It's 100 years of Canadian
I
Tire.
beg of you. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything other than more Bet River. What were we talking about?
But Matt Sundin and Leo Vegas. That's what we were talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're talking about
Sundin.
we're later. It's the end of the Owen Hart tournaments.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So next is the TNT. No, it's not. Okay. This match on paper was going to be really irritating, and I found it actually very entertaining
I
in
love
practice.
this. Yeah.
So this is a 6-person mixed tag match with American Top Team. So All Ego Ethan Page, the TNT champion Scorpio Sky, and former MMA fighter making her pro wrestling debut, Paige Van Zandt,
Yeah.
versus Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti and Frankie Kazarian. So a lot of sort of build up to this. Sammy Guevara was the TNT champion. He has in real life begun dating Ty Conti, who then they paired up on screen, which was a mistake. And their gimmick has been public displays of affection and rubbing it in people's faces that they are young and attractive people who are dating and that they fuck all the time.
Yeah.
And people hate it because it's irritating.
Are they heels?
Yes,
They weren't at first.
they weren't at first, but the thing is, there's heat,
Yeah.
right? And then there's a subsection called go away heat.
The X-Pac factor.
Yeah, where there's like heel heat where it's like boo this man, and then there's go away heat, which is like please actually just don't be on my TV. Right, which is like you're not booing the character, you're booing just the whole thing. You're just like I actually just don't want to see this
kind of thing that just makes you in the audience just turn around and face the other direction.
It's like I don't want to be.
It was funny because like during the build up to this, like there was some part on Dynamite where Dan Lambert, who is literally just like if your dad who watches Fox News was given a microphone, you know, like that's Dan Lambert. It's just like, yeah, he's like they took the DNA of a bunch of very right-wing right-wing people and like condensed it down and made the perfect right-wing specimen. And there's Dan Lambert, you know, but he when he gets cheered,
boy, can he talk.
He can talk, yeah. I mean, he's great. He's a wonderful heel, right? Like his character, I assume he's not like that in real life. I don't know, but the character I see does not always match the character off there, or the person off the screen. But there was a scene, there was a promo where like they were doing like Sammy Guevara and like Tay and like Dan Lambert was there, and Dan Lambert was just getting cheered, and he was just like saying all the most awful stuff.
Just because people really don't like Sammy and Tay's character. So this is like heels versus heels, because the thing is American Top Team they're definitely the heels here too.
Right.
Now American Top Team is they're like a MMA training thing that Dan Lambert runs.
Yes.
And so there was a bit on Dynamite prior to this where Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti and Frankie Kazarian, somewhat under duress, break into the American Top Team like training center and smash their trophy cases and steal a bunch of their like other belts that people who have gone there have won, like from MMA
bunch of UFC
tournaments and UFC belts and stuff. And they come out here wearing those belts, right? And so it's like, okay, so everyone in this match sucks.
Yeah.
Right? Except Frankie Kazarian, who to me saves this match.
Yeah, he was great.
So the stipulation is if Top Team wins this match, so if Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page and Paige Van Zandt win this match, then Sammy Guevara and Frankie Kazarian cannot challenge for the TNT title while Scorpio Sky holds it. They had to clarify that because in the original promo, it was Scorpio Sky said, if we win, you can't ever challenge for it again.
Yeah.
Which is not the case. It's as long as Scorpio is still the champion.
Oh, but of course, from Scorpio's perspective, be like, I will always be the champion.
Exactly, yeah. So basically, as this match goes on, Sammy and Tay are just being the worst teammates, you know, like tagging himself in when it's inappropriate to do so, or tagging himself in and then like taunting the crowd. And Frankie's like, come on, do that, get in here. You tagged in, get in here and hit the guy. Right. And it's as the match goes on, Frankie Kazarian gets less and less patient and more angry with Sammy and Tay. And it's hilarious.
It's great.
To the point that there's a bit where everyone starts getting into the ring and facing off at one point. And so there's the three people saved this match as far as I'm concerned, because otherwise it just would have been like, I don't care about any of these people. But in this, I was like, oh, please release Kazarian from whatever he's having to do here.
Frankie's kind of our avatar for
basically,
yeah, he's the audience.
It's like he's stuck with these two, and he doesn't like
a great
it.
moment where like I think Frankie is like yelling at Tay Conti. He was like, "What are you doing? Like what are you all doing?" And then Sammy Guevara tries to super kick Frankie from behind, and Frankie moves, and Sammy obliterates Tay Conti like just like a gnarly super. Like I was like, "Oh, she's dead." Oh, I just watched a murder happen.
And that's his girlfriend.
Yeah. And so eventually American Top Team do win. Sammy Guevara and Frankie Kazarian cannot challenge Scorpio Sky for the TNT title, but the crowd is just sort of happy that, because man, Sammy Guevara especially was like really hamming it up during this match. It's like, should I pin this guy or make out with Ty Conti? No, we're gonna make out publicly on the ring apron instead of me like trying to win the match.
Yeah.
Kazarian pulling his hair out.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So people were generally pretty happy with that result, just because they really didn't like Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti. A match that was thrown together on the Go Home Rampage on Friday before this Sunday
Yeah.
is Kyle O'Reilly versus Darby Allin, because the Undisputed Elite, who we mentioned earlier, attacked Sting and put Sting out of action for some period of time, and Sting and Darby have been Darby's basically been Sting's protege for some time, and so Darby comes out on Rampage and is like, Kyle O'Reilly, you beat up Sting and I want to fight you about it. And then they're like, okay, so this match is happening. It was a good match. I didn't watch a lot of NXT when Undisputed Era was around.
doing their thing.
And I saw a bit of it.
Yeah.
But apart from doing the air guitar, Kyle O'Reilly had not made a lot of impression upon me.
Yeah.
Until this match, where I was like, dang, this guy can go.
Yes, again.
Also, he's from Vancouver.
He's from Vancouver.
Yeah.
That immediately makes him one of my favorites. I'll latch on to Canadians. I didn't know
yeah.
Uno was a Canadian.
Yeah.
Yeah, Evil Uno's from Canada.
Yeah.
So that's wild.
So, yeah, this was a really good match.
Dude, at one point, Darby went to go do like a Tope Suicida. That's the third one we didn't do. Tope Suicida.
Right. The suicide dive.
And he's like tripped and fell through the bottom rope and then just like smacked Kyle in the face with his feet. I was
Looked
like,
bad.
whoa, it looked bad. Yeah. I don't know what happened there, but if that was on purpose or not, but that was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. Darby, I don't know how long he can keep up the pace, you know?
Is he going to be okay?
No.
Yeah, it's like he's young, but he is like putting his body through hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess he's just going hard while he can, and then worrying about not being able to walk later, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. It makes me worry though.
Kyle O'Reilly wins this match,
Yeah.
which again I was not expecting, but he's been on a heck of a streak recently. And
I mean, he was accomplished. He was a pretty accomplished like singles wrestler in New Japan and Ring of Honor.
yeah, I know it's weird. Like this is only a surprise to me, and it's not really a surprise. It's just I haven't seen Kyle O'Reilly really wrestle a lot of singles matches, right? I was only sort of aware of him during the Undisputed Era stuff on NXT, where it was a group thing. And so getting to see him in singles matches, it's like, oh, dang, he's really good. Awesome. But obviously this has been known by other people for a while. So, but yeah, that's the extent of that match. Next is the AEW Women's World Championship. Thunder Rosa defending against Serena Deeb, the professor of professional wrestling. Yeah. This match banged. This was really good. This is one of the best women's singles matches they've done. It was just really strong.
Yeah, it was just good.
Serena Deeb, we've talked about before. She was in the Straight Edge Society.
Yes.
Way back when CM Punk was on SmackDown and was starting his like cult, which he began with Luke Gallows, formerly Festus from Jesse and Festus, who'd been messed up by drugs. And so CM Punk had cured him, and now he was the big bruiser. And then he asked for a volunteer from the audience to join the Straight Edge Society. And this one woman puts up her hand and climbs the ring, and they shave her head.
Yeah.
And then that was Serena Deeb, who turns out is just a phenomenal wrestler. Also, obviously she was a plant. Sorry to burst your bubble if you thought that was legitimate.
Sorry
that
to
just
freak everybody out, but yeah.
random person from the audience puts their hand up and gets their head shaved. But
Yeah.
no, yeah, this was great. Thunder Rosa hasn't been on TV enough, I don't think, recently. Like there wasn't really a lot of like lead up for this, and I hope to see more of her because she's great. And yeah, this was a really good match. But
I hope they just don't like, because like they did such a good job with like Britt Baker and giving her TV time and stuff. That I hope that just like subsequent women's champions don't get the same treatment. You know, don't get kind of like just swept under the rug. I mean,
because they're all in on Jade Cargill and the TBS championship,
yeah,
which is the like secondary women's title essentially.
yeah,
But the AEW Women's World Championship, doesn't seem to be getting the same support
yeah.
on the show.
But I mean, that's always been AEW's problem, right?
Yeah.
They haven't been particularly good at showcasing the women's division. I mean, they're much better than they used to be, but they still got a long ways to go, I think.
The next match, and I use the word match generously, is the Anarchy in the Arena match, which is the Jericho Appreciation Society versus the Blackpool Combat Club and Eddie Kingston and Santana and Ortiz, a.k.a. Proud and Powerful. So, the Jericho Appreciation Society have been around for what, like 12 weeks or something at this point?
Something like that,
they
yeah.
announce it as part of the entrance. It's like, for the past 12 weeks, the Jericho Appreciation Society have been, on a hunt to find out, the best in sports entertainment. So Jericho's thing right now, because Jericho can always make something work, is that he is a sports entertainer.
Yeah.
Not a professional wrestler. Boo, hiss,
Yeah.
boo this WWE man.
Yeah.
Also that he is a wizard.
Yes.
Oh, you got a problem with that, nerd? I'll throw a fireball in your face because I'm a wizard.
Stop it.
Yeah. Like a full-on wizard.
And you know this.
Magic spells.
Yeah, you know this because he will repeatedly say, I am a wizard. He will just repeatedly affirm when no one has questioned him about it. He will just affirm, I'm a wizard.
Yeah.
And he does the little like flash paper fireballs.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
great.
just like, I'm a wizard.
I created this fire from nothing,
Yeah. Excalibur made a Discworld reference.
Oh, nice.
Because Jericho was on commentary on Rampage, and he's like, "Shut up, Excalibur! I'm a wizard!" And just really quickly, half under his breath, Excalibur's like, "Oh, wizards pull as a knob on the end. It does,
Yeah.
it does." And someone's like, I saw someone on the like the Discworld subreddit was like, "Did Excalibur just quote Granny Weatherwax? What's going on here?" Anyway. Jericho can just make things work by saying them. I don't understand how he does
wild,
it.
right?
It doesn't
Yeah.
make sense. But anyway, so the Jericho Appreciation Society is basically him and underlings that he can control. Because that was his problem with the Inner Circle, is that he didn't have control of that situation.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's him, Daniel Garcia, Jake Hager, Angelo Parker, and Matt Menard. So Jake Hager is still basically Jericho's like big muscle guy.
Yeah.
He's the one sort of through line from the Inner Circle. And the other three are actually really entertaining.
Yeah.
I watched a promo with them after this match where they're like patching up their wounds and stuff, and it was really entertaining. And they had there was a follow-up match with, I think it was Daniel Garcia versus John Moxley on Dynamite, and he comes out, and just the way that he's walking and his like stance is, he looks like this like tiny weeny little scared man, right? He's hunched over, and he looks like he looks skinny and small, and then during the match he's going amazingly versus Moxley somehow. And it's just such a weird dichotomy. Like he looks like oh, Moxley's gonna beat the floor with this guy in like 10 seconds. And then it turns out, no, they're actually really good at wrestling. So that's one side of things, the Jericho Appreciation Society.
Yeah.
The wizard. And Bryan Danielson and John Moxley, because the Jericho Appreciation Society have been like getting up their ass. Eddie Kingston, same sort of thing. And then Santana and Ortiz were part of the Inner Circle, and they felt jilted by Jericho as well. And so there's a lot of bad blood. There's a lot of bad blood happening here on a lot of different angles. And this, again, match, no one knew what to expect. They're just like, it's going to be anarchy in the arena.
Yeah.
And it goes to Justin Roberts, the ring announcer.
Yeah.
He's standing in the middle of the ring, and before the match starts, before he actually announces it, he's just like, he opens his mouth and like pauses for a second and is like,
Ladies and gentlemen, shit's about to hit the fan.
"This is the Anarchy in the Arena match." Is that what he said? It was something. He said shit. It was something about like this is going to be some kind of shit. Like
something like that.
he's basically thrown his hands up. He's like, I don't know what to call this.
Yeah.
The match can only be won by pinfall or submission in the ring. Everything else is on the table.
Yes.
And so like the match they don't even like fully get out, because the Jericho Appreciation Society comes out, and then the others come out all through the audience to Moxley's music.
Yeah.
Which is
Wild Thing.
And they just start fighting, and the music doesn't stop, because like the match hasn't really has the match started? Has it not? They're just beating the crap out of each other.
There's no bell?
I think there's a bell. I don't know, but the music keeps going. The music keeps going for like a third of this match until Jericho and Moxley fight their way over to the soundboard, and Jericho literally rips a piece of technology out of the thing that finally kills the music.
Yeah.
And he gets booed for it.
Yeah.
But it just keeps looping Wild
Just
Thing
letting
for
Wild
like
Thing loop
for like
3 times. It was like
for like 7 minutes.
Did the song actually reach its conclusion and then start again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's like Kingston just like grabs one of the other guys and just like wanders off into the arena. One of them's bleeding. I think it was
John Moxley had a fork.
yeah, and started jabbing someone in the forehead.
It was Matt Menard.
The guy that Kingston's fighting is bleeding as well, and then they like gets thrown into one of the merchandise booths and a hot dog cart and sprays mustard all over them. And
Yeah.
Moxley hits Jericho with a boom camera.
Yeah.
Like he grabs the camera that's on the big jib arm and just like swings it into Jericho's face.
Yeah.
Like it's a mess. It's impossible to describe really because it's so many different things happen and so many different camera angles.
Yeah.
How they were able to, this must have been hell for the director. How they were able to actually like show all the stuff that was happening is preposterous.
Yeah.
Eventually Kingston ends up in the freight elevator and they lose track of where Kingston is, which will be relevant later.
Yeah.
Santana and Ortiz do dives off of ladders onto 2 of the guys through tables, like a synchronized dive.
They give like their finisher, that street sweeper thing, to Jake Hager through 2 tables on the outside.
Yeah.
Jericho puts John Moxley in the walls of Jericho on a table, but the table breaks when they're both on top of it.
It's the timekeeper's table. It just sort of collapses really like slowly
Yeah.
to the ground.
Yeah.
And then eventually,
Well, John Moxley brings some barbed wire out.
yeah, of course he has a piece of plywood with barbed wire on it because of course he does, and puts it on a table, and then he gets thrown into it.
Yeah,
the
rule.
That
That's the
table
rule.
doesn't collapse, and just he hits it and then just sort of falls over. So he's like on the ground stuck in the barbed wire. Jericho's in the ring with Bryan Danielson.
Yeah. And then Bryan Danielson has like the upper hand, and he's like, I'm going to kick his fucking head in. He yells that.
Yeah.
And then he's about to do that like stomp thing where he like grabs both their hands, and then Jake Hager comes with a bat and
Yep.
hits Daniel Bryan in the back of the knee. And then they put Daniel Bryan in the walls of Jericho, and Jake Hager. Oh, sorry. John Moxley takes the ring down. He like starts unscrewing one of the turnbuckles.
Oh yeah, he unscrews the top turnbuckle, so the top rope is just sort of floppy.
Yeah.
And then he hits someone with like the turnbuckle, like the metal rod part of it's still attached to the ropes, but he just like clatters someone with the turnbuckle. Then eventually we find out where Eddie Kingston is as he comes down the covered in someone else's blood, starts wandering down the ramp with a jerry can full of gasoline.
Right.
Because Jericho had tried to light him on fire.
Yeah.
Because Jericho's a wizard. So he gets in the ring and starts dumping gasoline all over Jericho. And Bryan Danielson is like, what the fuck are you doing?
Danielson has Jericho in a hole.
Well,
I'm
they're
reading here.
in the
so-
ring as well. He also gets gas on
Yeah.
him. So he starts like fumbling with like a lighter or matches or something. And Danielson just like swats it away and is like, are you mad?
Yeah.
But you can't just light somebody on fire. And Jericho's like, gasoline's in my eyes. You know, and then so there's now infighting between Moxley, Kingston, and Danielson because Eddie Kingston has gone so blood mad that he's trying to light a man on fire.
Yeah. I don't know how I forgot about that part happening.
it's the maddest part of
It completely slipped my mind that Eddie Kingston pulled a can of gasoline out from the back and walked outside and then poured it all over Chris Jericho and then attempted to light him on fire. But if only for the good graces and common sense of Bryan Danielson that life was saved that day. You know? That's wild.
So yeah, the infighting ends up leading to the finish of the match, which is the Jericho Appreciation Society manages to win with a technical submission. They choke someone out. Is it Danielson?
Danielson gets choked out. He gets put in the walls of Jericho, and then Jake Hager takes a part of the ring with like the rope, and like chokes him, and then he passes out.
It's like a 23-minute again, match, air quotes.
It was great. It was super
It
entertaining.
was awesome. I think I texted you.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, I'm finally watching Double or Nothing. What the fuck is happening?
What is happening?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah. Good stuff. Some fallout from this.
Yeah.
Jericho gets like knocked in the ring and Ortiz cuts off one of his tiny, awful looking ponytails. Yeah. And so then Jericho is like, oh, fine, you want to do this? And challenges him to a hair versus hair match. Mm-hmm. So that's upcoming on an episode of Dynamite. And then they're having a blood and guts match.
Finally. Yeah.
Yeah. At
because the Pandini took the first one away.
Yeah. And they have, is it Kingston? I think it is. Yeah. He hands the mic. He comes out, cuts a promo. Kingston's promos are always great. And Regal is there representing Blackpool Combat Club. And he just hands the mic to Regal. He's like, you know what I want? You know what I want? I want to fight all of you. Kingston's like, I'll take you all on one versus 5. Right? I'll take you all on. You know what kind of match I want? Hands the mic to Regal just so the Regal can go blood and guts. And then hands the mic, hands the mic back and leaves. Yeah. He's just there to say blood and guts.
Let them know where I want to fight them. Blood and guts.
And then eventually Moxley's like, yeah, you know what? I could get in on that too. And so it sounds like it's going to be the same 5. Yeah. 5-on-5 in whatever a blood and guts match is. But Anarchy in the Arena was already quite ridiculous. Yeah. So, and that's after the hair versus hair match, which I assume Jericho's losing.
I don't, but if Jericho's losing the hair versus hair match, that means they have to win I'm assuming that blood and guts is the
blow
final
off
chapter, right?
Has to be, surely.
So then I don't think they win the blow off, right? Because maybe Kingston's got to win the.
Yeah.
I don't think Jericho wins the hair versus hair match.
That's true.
Blood and guts! 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 Blood and guts!
If we're going to take wrestling storytelling into consideration and the way they do things, it's like it's going to be less like what they call 50-50 booking, which is like trading things to happen, you know, where it's like, didn't they, man, I can't remember what they fought before this. Cause like Kingston beat Jericho, but then Jericho beat Kingston in something, didn't he? Leading up to this? I can't remember. I believe you. Like, yeah, there's like, when they trade back and forth, like, so since the Jericho Appreciation Society won Anarchy in the arena, you'd think that Ortiz would win the hair versus hair match, right? Right. But I don't think it's going to go that way because I don't know if Chris Jericho would shave his head, would he?
Maybe.
He looks weird.
Yeah. Has he ever done bald? I don't think so. He's had the short hair.
He'd look a lot like that guy from Breaking Bad.
Walter White?
No. The old guy.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember his name. Yeah. I haven't watched it.
Yeah. I've watched it. I can't remember his name.
Our next match, our penultimate match of the evening, is a 3-way tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team titles. Yeah. Jurassic Express, which is to say the champions Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, defending against Team Taz, which is Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks, versus Swerve in his glory. Yeah, is that what they call the tag team?
I think so.
Or Swerve in their glory. It's Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee. Yeah. Keith Lee's in AEW now. Yeah. And good to see it.
I never watched Swerve Strickland in WWE.
Me neither.
But again, now after seeing him in AEW, I'm like, how do you let this guy go? You know? It's like, how do you have nothing for this guy?
Yeah.
You know?
Another good tag team match.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure that the Jurassic Express was going to retain.
I thought maybe Swerve and Keith Lee were going to win.
I thought Team Taz might take it.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, Ricky Starks is just phenomenal on the mic, and Powerhouse Hobbs is, I mean, he's a powerhouse. Look at the size of this lad.
He's big. Keyword big.
Yeah, they had a good stare down with him and Keith Lee at one point during this match, which was good.
Man, Keith Lee's phenomenal.
Keith Lee's so good. He's someone of that scale shouldn't be able to move as quickly and cleanly as he does.
Yes. Every time he moves, I'm like, wow, that's a man that moves with purpose. Right? Yeah. Like every motion in his body is like he has a purpose and he's doing it, and it's like he's in control, right? Yeah. There's one point where Swerve Strickland like clasped hands with Keith Lee. Keith Lee's like on the apron, And Swerve Strickland like hops up on the top rope and then does a moonsault off of Keith Lee onto the outside to like 2 people. And I was just like, that's incredible. Yeah.
It's really good. The Jurassic Express do retain at the end of this, but it's awkward, like purposefully. And there's some stuff with Christian, because Christian Cage is there sort of like as a manager and mentor to Jurassic Express. And at one point he tries to sort of get involved, and I can't remember the like specifics, but Jungle Boy looks a little sort of confused about what like happened. In a follow-up, Christian, this is like on Dynamite, the Young Bucks and the Hardys are still feuding, and so then Jurassic Express shows up, and Christian on their behalf challenges the other 2 teams to a 3-way tag match for the titles as a ladder match. And Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus are like, what the hell, dude? Like, just on their faces, they're just like, what's going on here? Like, and it seems like it seems like intentionally or not, Christian is going to cost them these titles.
Yes.
Probably in this ladder match.
Yeah.
But the seeds of it started to sort of show up at the end of this match. It was interesting to see. It's like they're not totally comfortable with what's going on here. This is curious. I like AEW a lot.
Yeah, I like the way they tell their stories. It's just like, it kind of all...
It's like
it's
they
not
have
perfect, but it does kind of make sense in a way, right? Like,
it's like they have, respect for their audience to pay attention to things.
yeah, it's nice to be rewarded for like paying attention, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which brings us actually, because it's the match was very entertaining, but like storyline wise, that's the most interesting sort of thing out of it.
Yeah.
So that takes us to your main event, which is, of course, Hangman Adam Page defending the AEW World Heavyweight Championship against CM Punk.
Yes.
And the lead up to this has been very interesting.
It's been incredible. I loved it.
Hangman, for some time, always had this thing where it was clear that he didn't believe in himself enough. He didn't believe that he was good enough to be where he was, until eventually he beat Kenny Omega and got the title, and came out of that match less of the what was the lower third, the anxious millennial cowboy, and a much more confident millennial cowboy. Yeah. Right. He really came into his own after that. It was like, I've done this. I've proved myself all right. And he's done title defenses since then, and they've been successful. And things have been going pretty well for the Hangman. And then Punk shows up, and he's going to have a championship match against Punk. And suddenly that lack of self-confidence is coming back.
Yeah.
And he gets flustered in promos against Punk. The only time that he had a promo in the lead up to this that felt like he was really confident in himself again was the week that Punk wasn't there. There was a week where Punk wasn't at Dynamite, and it was known that he wasn't in the building, and Hangman just like tears a strip off him in this promo, and it's like, where's this Hangman been the past couple of weeks? And then the next week they're face to face again, and he's awkward about it, and it's really interesting. And his sort of thesis is, I'm not defending this title against you. I'm defending AEW from you.
Yeah.
Because he knows who Punk is. He knows what Punk has done before in WWE. He knows about, the summer of Punk and all that. And Hangman thinks that if Punk wins the title, then he's going to become an insufferable ass.
Yeah.
And he's going to be actively harmful to AEW. Which I don't think is an unreasonable concern, considering CM Punk's history, the character, but also maybe the person. The person can be kind of an asshole sometimes, and he'd be the first person to admit that. But the more so the character. The promos are just it's so interesting because like Punk in his promos has been like not condescending, but just sort of like, all right, buddy, whatever you say, I guess. Yeah. Okay.
He's like, this isn't personal, you know. It's just like it's business.
He says that, right? Like Punk, but
he's saying that, but you don't think he believes it
in a way that is like intentionally pushing Hangman's buttons.
Yes,
right. He's like, hey man, this doesn't have to be personal. This is just you're the champion, and I'm want a challenge for the big title. That's all this is.
Yeah.
Why are you overreacting? Right? Like that's the kind of thing that he's doing.
Why are you overreacting?
Right?
Yeah.
It reminds me of the like plausible deniability of the high school bully.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, nice shirt. Why? What's wrong with my shirt? Nothing. I like it. Right? That kind of thing. Right? And it's like that's sort of what Punk was doing in these promos is like, I don't know what the problem is, guy. Right? And Hangman's like, you were the problem.
Yeah, you are the problem.
Yeah.
I loved the I'm not defending from CM Punk, I'm defending the
AEW
Walker
from you.
Yeah. Oh, that was sick.
And so
it's Hangman Page is the best. I think he's my favorite wrestler on the roster.
And so going into this match, it's like neither of these guys is the good guy, and neither of these guys is the bad guy. Ostensibly, you could say that Hangman is the good guy, I think, and Punk is maybe the bad guy just because he's not the good guy.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he's CM Punk, so the crowd is still super into Punk. The crowd is chanting for both of these guys.
Yes.
Right? Possibly a little stronger for Punk as well.
I think so.
Right?
I think it's a little bit in
But
Punk's
like
favor.
it's not there is not a clear delineation.
Yeah.
Right. And so from the outset of this match, the in-ring storytelling is very strong, of just what is like Hangman is worried, right? And Punk is challenged. Like he's like, it's a good match. They're very sort of evenly matched.
They spent a lot of time like trying to hit each other's finishers.
Yeah, they did some of that
too.
in the build-up as well. Yeah,
the build-up they were trying to.
Hangman would beat someone with a GTS, and Punk would attempt the buckshot lariat.
Yeah.
I just want to talk about the end. What is there anything that happened like during the match that we really want to highlight?
Not really. I mean, like it was good.
Yeah.
I mean, they were like, I like the storytelling of like working on Hangman Page's knee.
Right, because he messed up his knee.
It did kind of play a little bit into the ending. Because like Hangman, I guess there's more to talk about before that though. Because the ref takes a bump.
Yeah, so they've been going back and forth, like 2 counts, hitting finishers, hitting big moves. The match feels like it could have ended at any point. And then Punk has Hangman up for a GTS, I think, and hits the ref. So the ref is down, and Hangman gets out of that.
Hits a lariat.
And then gets the belt, gets the title belt. And the ref is down, so the ref can't see. And Hangman sets up to hit Punk with the belt, with the title, to basically knock him out and assure that he's going to win. And he stops, and he has a moment where he, considers what he's doing and what kind of champion he wants to be, and then realizes, no, I can't be this guy. I can't feel good about myself if I win the match by cheating, by just hitting Punk with a foreign object. So he throws the belt down as the ref is coming to, and then Punk beats him.
Yeah, catches him with the GTS and puts him out.
And as Excalibur, I think it was, said, just very succinct, because that's what happened. Hangman was like, no, I'm not going to cheat to win. And because he delayed, because he stopped and had to think about it, and rather than just going for the pin and eventually deciding, no, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to be that guy, he lost. It was great.
It was awesome. It was like the exact opposite of that old, like what they did with Sami Zayn and Neville, well now Pac, back in NXT, where it's like there was a moment where the ref went down and Sami Zayn had the belt and he was going to hit Neville with it, and he decided against it, and Sami actually ended up winning that match anyway, regardless. But I don't know. I was more upset that Page lost than Punk winning. It's like I felt like, as from my viewing experience, I didn't think it was Paige's time, but I mean, I'm not the one making the calls, right?
The crowd was so behind him choosing the path of good,
Yeah.
right? Like when he threw the belt down, the crowd was very, very hype about it.
Yeah.
But the crowd was also very hyped to see Punk win because everyone likes CM Punk,
Yeah.
you see. So, yeah, that was
Yeah,
great.
Punk wins. Punk's your new champion.
Yeah.
But
has a match on Dynamite. It was Punk and FTR
yeah,
versus, why don't I remember? Who were they fighting?
can't remember.
But he messed up his leg. He messed up his foot somehow, either in that match or related to that match.
Was it Max Caster in the Gun Club?
Maybe it was.
I
I
it was
honestly
Max
don't
Caster
remember.
in the Gun Club.
And so then the next on Rampage on that Friday, he comes out and is like, "Hey, so I'm injured." Basically, right? Like he said it in a much more eloquent way. But the upshot is that he's injured, and he's like, "So I was gonna vacate this title," and Tony Khan was like, "No, we believe in you. You're gonna get better. It's okay. You hang on to that, and we'll crown an interim champion in the meantime." So Punk is still AEW World Heavyweight Champion, but we don't know when he's going to be able to defend it. And so what they did instead is they had a Casino Battle Royal,
Yeah.
which is their sort of Royal Rumble thing. We've talked about it before. Generally, they do it at Double or Nothing, but this was the Tony Khan was like, "No, that's the one now."
Yeah.
So, and then the deal was the winner of that, which was Kyle O'Reilly, has a match. That was the first thing on an episode of Dynamite. Then at the end of that episode of Dynamite, him versus Jon Moxley, because he's the #1 ranked male competitor, they have a match, and the winner of that match, which was Jon Moxley, goes on to fight for the interim title at Forbidden Door, which is an upcoming pay-per-view crossover with New Japan Pro Wrestling, against the winner of whatever tournament New Japan has.
They're just making Hiroshi Tanahashi and
Okada?
Goto. Can't
Goto.
remember his first name.
Yeah.
But
And have they done that
they
already?
haven't done it yet.
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
So it's going to be Moxley versus that member of New Japan Pro Wrestling for the interim title. And then the interim title will be defended as if it is the real title. And then whenever Punk is better, whoever has that title will face Punk in a unification match.
Yeah.
So I do think it's odd that Hangman doesn't get a look in to this.
Yeah.
He wasn't in the Casino Battle Royal.
Nope.
And they're just like, we're going to have the winner of that face Moxley, and then the Moxley's going to fight someone from New Japan, and it's like Hangman, the guy that just lost the title, isn't involved in this in any way. That feels weird.
They did bring it up. I mean,
Did they? I missed it.
Hangman had a match, and he got on the mic afterwards. He's like, just because, he's like, I didn't get it. I don't know why I'm not in this battle royal, or like why I'm not getting a title shot or anything like that. I don't think I'm getting one anytime soon, but it's not the only title. And he was like, I want Okada at the Forbidden Door.
Right.
But New Japan just had a pay-per-view called Dominion, and now Jay White has beaten Okada
Right.
for the IWGP Heavyweight title.
So does
So Jay
Hangman
White,
fight Jay White, or
Don't
does
know.
Hangman fight Okada?
don't know yet.
Okay. Forbidden Door sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun, by the way. I don't know a lot of the New Japan side of things, but
Yeah, I don't know a lot about New Japan, or like, I know
the
big names, like,
All Atlantic title that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
There's three matches in AEW and one match in New Japan, and the winners of those four matches will face in a four-way match at Forbidden Door for the All Atlantic title.
Yes.
So, and the three AEW matches are the bit is that they're all not American.
Yeah.
So it was like Miro and Buddy Matthews and
Malachi Black, Penta.
right, Penta, someone from Canada. One of them was from Canada. Was it Kyle O'Reilly?
Kyle O'Reilly.
Was it?
I
Okay.
think so.
Anyway,
I think
so
Kyle
that'll be
O'Reilly's
interesting.
in it. No, Kyle O'Reilly's not in it because he won the Battle Royal.
Right.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember.
You'll probably have seen a graphic on screen at this point to explain it better.
Yeah.
So apologies to those of you who are listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Wow, what a pay-per-view.
what a pay-per-view.
Yeah, that pay-per-view was excellent.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that immensely.
Yeah, it was really good. And I've been watching Dynamite prior to and since then, and it's been
I've been keeping up.
it's been very entertaining. It's just it's amazing what it can be like when you feel invested in the storylines, and that the people in charge of the storylines don't seem to be actively revolted by the concept of someone following the storylines.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Just different approaches, I think. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it is.
yeah.
But I know which one I prefer.
Yeah, I definitely prefer AEW style of like both in-ring competition and their storytelling. I think is excellent. So that's just for me.
Yeah. How'd all that sound to you, Beach?
It sounded pretty good. I was adding up the length of the show,
Oh yeah.
which is well over 200 minutes. I shouldn't say well over, but it is over 200 minutes. So that's 3 hours and 20 minutes. Could have been 3 hours and 30 minutes. Did it feel long?
No,
No.
I didn't. I felt like that was like an hour and a half.
Wow, damn.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you guys talked for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Right. And
That sounds like us.
And an hour and a half of that was about the show. So it's like, so you summed up the show in about half the time, which is good. I'm not saying
You keeping track of our segues
I'm just
or
kind of
diet
like-
our
What are you trying to say, Beach?
you
huh?
did a 30-minute tangent before we started talking about the show.
We've had a lot to
It was
catch
a
up
lot
on.
of catch up. I get
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
But I was just kind of like there. I was reading a bit of the Wikipedia article where people are like, "Hey, how did everyone feel about this, like reviews wise?" And it seemed to be a thing where it's like, "Wow, this show seemed longer than normal." And do you feel like it's too much when a pay-per-view goes? I mean, like we've had things where it's like, "Oh, so WrestleMania has been split into 2 days."
Yeah.
And that seems like a long time too.
That's a long time. Yeah, I mean, this one didn't feel long
That's good.
when I watched it, so that's always a good sign, but you do run the risk, right?
Yeah.
As your roster gets bigger and you add more titles and everything else, like you run the risk of not having a 5-match pay-per-view. You know, you'll have like we have 13 matches?
Yeah.
13 matches, and a lot of them were multi-person matches, so
Right.
those got to run a little bit longer, and then
There's a lot of people.
you run the risk of cutting down time on other matches, and there's time management and everything else.
But you have to also deal with that idea of if we have a stable that's of this many people at some point, if you're not bringing in fresh blood to kind of like younger people or even just a different face every so often, you lose the novelty, but also you never end up building a stable of people you need to wrestle. You can't just keep poaching people from WWE as they're unhappy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, stables don't generally, I mean, in modern wrestling, don't really last that long. You know, a lot of stables don't stick around.
Like
No.
you step in, you're like, I might be at this promotion for 5 years, and then I have to kind of move on.
5
my
years
way.
is a lot for a stable, I think.
Yeah.
Like a stable, think of a stable like the Jericho Appreciation
Oh,
Society.
like that, yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, Inner Circle was around for a couple years, I think.
Year and a
by
half, maybe?
modern millennial standards, it's probably like a year and a half, 2 years is probably the shelf life of a stable.
Like the New Day is a statistical outlier because
Yes.
they've just said we're never breaking up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
They're like, if they try to break us up, we'll leave.
I guess what I mean more of is like AEW's total contract worker base,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like you have signed on to be all elite. So when I say stable, I mean like more all of the wrestlers who work in that for AEW.
Oh, I see. You're not talking about like a wrestling stable.
Yeah,
you
no, I
mean
mean-
a stable
I mean,
worker.
yeah, the contract worker. Like it's like
Oh.
you are on AEW and you might be there for 5 years, and then it's like you might leave and go to Ring of Honor, you might leave and go to somewhere else, you might go be independent again.
Right.
'Cause it seems like everybody seems to do this. It's like I wrestle here for a while, then I get released from my contract, and I go find some other work, and
Mm-hmm.
then I have to like find my way to another promotion and then come up with a new name because now my name doesn't belong to me anymore. Like,
Right.
yeah, it seems
That's
a little-
generally only a WWE thing because most other places want to bank on the name that is known.
Yeah, I
which,
bet.
which is good.
Yeah,
So
Well, the part of the thing about wrestling is like you want to go around building your name, right?
yeah. I mean, because you are the product, right? You're
Yes.
you're selling yourself as the interesting thing.
Yeah.
the I looked it up, by the way. The All Atlantic Championship. Pac defeated Buddy Matthews. So the other qualification matches is Malachi Black versus Penta Oscuro, Miro versus Ethan Page. He's the one from Canada.
Oh, Ethan Page.
And then the New Japan Pro Wrestling will either be Tamaoki Honma, Clark Connors, Tomohiro Ishii, or Yoshinori Kanemaru.
Ishii's the only one I know.
One of those four. So it'll be Pac versus Malachi or Penta, Miro or Ethan Page, and one of those four guys.
Okay.
So
Interesting. Yeah, it'll be cool to see what they do with it, I guess. Now that I know it's like they can travel, go to other promotions with it. I think there's a lot of like potential there for like letting people see new wrestlers.
Yeah.
Getting new wrestlers exposure is important, right? And it's hard, but I think it's a pretty good way of doing it.
Yeah. The Forbidden Door pay-per-view is the next one coming up on June 26th. Their logo looks like Doctor Who.
It's like 2 weeks, right?
It's 2 weeks, from now. It's a big crossover between AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling, and sounds pretty cool. Yeah,
Sounds like it'll be super fun.
the only confirmed matches, John Moxley versus Hiroshi Tanahashi for the interim AEW World
I
Championship.
figured as much that Tanahashi was going to be the one winning that.
That tracks, yeah.
Tanahashi is essentially Japan's John Cena.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like his thing. Plays air guitar a lot. He's very good looking.
Hmm.
You know, the beefcake of a man. Really.
Awesome.
I have to ask before we take off.
Yeah.
Privileged to smell his feet.
Yes, Peach.
Yeah, Beach, what's up?
I actually just want to end on that now, but
Yeah, no?
no. You keep referring to the it's Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
And Full Gear and Revolution and
All in.
are we
This
sure
is
it's
a-
not All Out?
All out. Thank you.
Okay.
It's all out. My
Because
bad.
All In is definitely like that is a gambling term. And
Yeah, that's the one
buy-in
that they
being the
did.
thing, right?
But then it's all out because they're going all out. It's still gambling themed. Yeah. But
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
you're right.
okay.
Thank you. And then Forbidden Door is a bonus. Like this is not one of their normal pay-per-views.
I love the sound of it though. It's like, oh, wrestling behind the forbidden door.
The Forbidden Door was a term that came up from the wrestling community of basically like crossovers between promotions. Because since WWE had like shut that down,
Right.
where they never acknowledge anything else, then it became like, you know, people from Impact started showing up on AEW,
Right.
right, and then like when Minoru Suzuki showed up on AEW, right, and so it was like, oh, you know, who's going to be the next to step through the Forbidden Door,
Right.
And so now they're just like, we're just calling the pay-per-view that it's AEW versus New Japan.
It's very what if, right? Like the Marvel
Yeah,
what if kind of thing. It's
except it gets to happen, which
Yeah.
is cool.
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, well, that's going
Did
to
you
do
imagine
it, I guess.
the logistics behind the scenes politics that would happen for stuff like this?
Yeah.
Like when you've got like two different promoters with two different promotions and they both want their superstars to look good or their wrestlers to look good, and they're like arguing over who wins and who loses. I'm like, man, that seems like a logistical nightmare that I would not want to deal with.
Yep.
Yeah, I just think about stuff like that and I'm like, oof.
Hey, I'm really curious how it's all going to play out.
Yeah.
But that's going to do it for this episode of Sidewalk Slam. So thank you all for joining us.
It's been
We're
great. It's
happy
good to
to
be back, baby.
Yeah, it feels good to talk about wrestling again and wrestling that we
does.
enjoyed.
Yes.
Yeah. Until next time.
Yeah.
I've been Graham, and you can find me on Twitter at Graham_LRR
You can find me. I'm Adam. You can find me at Wake Up Super.
and Beej. No, I'm gonna make you do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You can
you
find me on Mastodon. I'm at Beej at octodon.social.
Do you go on Mastodon that often?
I do actually.
Really?
Every day I'm on there doing stuff. I only post there maybe once a week. I found that since I don't feel the push very much to do that, I don't post very much.
That's
to do that.
reasonable.
Yeah.
You do occasionally also post to Twitter.
Yeah. Well, I screwed up and I posted my Metroid Other M stream to Twitter because on my own account because I meant to post it on the Lure account and I was like, oh damn, wrong account. Well, I'm not going to go back and change it.
Too late now.
Anyway,
Yeah.
he's Tuck Speech on Twitter.
Yeah.
This show and everything we do here at Loading Ready Run is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. That's about it. Adam's edited it
Yeah.
by the time you see it, and Heather gets our stuff online on the YouTube. And
You can go to the store.loadingreadyrun.com and buy a Sidewalk Slam shirt because
That's
there is one there.
yeah,
Here we go.
and that's it. So thanks for watching, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.